It's the recognition of my peers that makes all those agonizing days of teaching ozone everything I know.
Yeah, I don't want to stay here all night, do you?
Award winners don't push brooms.
Oh, yeah? Why don't you go out and sweep, man? Who do you think you are anyway, Fred Astaire?
Who?
Just go on a sweep, knucklehead.
Sure ugly.
Oh, yeah? I'll show you ugly.
Guys, if anyone tells me the 80s were the best decade for movies, I'm going to play those clips again. And I've got more like that lined up as well. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Marks out of 10. How you feeling? We're here. We're doing this. We're going to have a best decades ever fight. Not going to do a tier list this time because I can't be bothered. But we are going to go through decades and talk about them, have a bit of fun, watch clips like that. Because honestly speaking, that is awful. And I know people love that kind of thing. But let's be smart about our debate, shall we? Because when I see stuff like that, I'm like, what, how, and who thought that's a good idea? But anyway, hello everyone. How are we doing? I'm doing okay. I'm here early, which is great. I mean, I'm not early. I'm on time, which is great. Vitaphone, hello. Jay, hello. MK, hello. Dan Leiden. I don't think have you been here before, Dan? Nice to see you. Recitas, hello, everyone. The Anderdome, great name. Guys, let's have some fun. The first thing I want to talk about is I want to go straight into this and talk about, well, a few things. But I think the thing that really stands out to me from this week, I don't want to talk about the acolyte. I don't want to talk about that. But there's been success at the box office. Finally, there's been success. So I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about the new Blade movie because I wouldn't say excited, but I would definitely say that prior to when it was first announced 5 years ago, when I thought this was a really bad idea, I was kind of getting a bit excited for it. And then, it's kind of looks like it's going to be cancelled. So that's pretty interesting stuff. And I want to delve into the Kevin Spacey stuff again that we spoke about last week, Saturday, but he's now had an interview with Piers Morgan, which I found quite fascinating. So maybe we can talk about that towards the end of the stream. So guys, 8 out of 10. Euros 24 is kicking off. Ray, your team's not even in the Euros. So which team are you going to support? I'm going to support whatever team wins. I know I'm in England, but I don't particularly feel too patriotic. So I'm going to support whatever team wins. Then I win, basically. Hello, Gagnan. How you doing? When you can guess out who, how, and why you did the first steps to be a film connoisseur. I am going to star that, Gagnan. I'm going to answer that in a bit. But first and foremost, guys, let's put this onto the stage, which is some financial success. Finally, for Disney, for Hollywood, it's coming back, guys. Hollywood is coming back. I want to talk about one other thing as well that Vitaphone sent me earlier on in the week. Let me see if I can get this thing up here. But yeah, cinema looks like it's making a bit of a mini revival. Obviously, Deadpool's coming out very shortly as well. Bad Boys has done really well at the theaters. Inside Out apparently is looking for a $140 to $150 million opening weekend, which I looked at last year's figures. It would have made it the second highest grossing opening weekend of last year's figures. So that's not bad for Disney and for the cinema business. Bad Boys, I think, opened to like 40 or 50 in the US or maybe worldwide. I can't remember which one it was, but it looks like we're having a bit of a revival. Has anyone seen Inside Out 2? Or I don't even think it's out. Is that out? I think it's out. Has anyone seen Bad Boys? Do people think that we are back? Okay, here we go. Jay, you've seen all the movies this weekend. So was Inside Out 2 out this weekend? And have you seen Bad Boys 4, 10 or whatever it's called? Chris Gore said the Inside Out is nothing but straight to video sequel to a Lion King, most likely. But it's making the big boy numbers. So what can we do? I mean, that's what we want, right? We want cinema to be alive. I know some of us want cinema to die so we can start again. I think that might be a good idea in all fairness, but this is good. This is a good thing for Hollywood. It means that they don't have to, make shit anymore. Well, I take that back. They do have to keep making shit because that's kind of what sells. Like Inside Out 2 is not my kind of film, but at least they have some money and they can go and splash 300 million on another massive film and waste their money again. I watched Despicable Me 3, and that was way better than the original. Gagnan, I saw a message earlier on where you said you weren't going to come into the stream. I'm so glad that you're here, though. I'm so glad you stick around because we're going to have a fun debate tonight. I'm seeing it tomorrow, Bad Boys, with my dad for Father's Day. So, Recitas, do they have Father's Day? Because I'm in the UK, and is it Father's Day tomorrow? I should probably know this, really. It's pretty poor. But yeah, is it Father's Day tomorrow? So yeah, this is looking pretty good. Bad Boys 2 done really well last week. Bad Boys 4 done really well last week. Inside Out 2 done really well yesterday. So it looks like we're not finished just yet. It seems like people still want to go to the cinema. And with Deadpool coming out in a few weeks' time, it could still be quite a good summer. So I haven't seen Bad Boy 4 and Inside Out 2. They aren't out in Croatia yet. I wonder when they are going to be out in Croatia because you guys get films really late. I've noticed that you guys get films so late. I don't know why they don't release films at the same time across the world. It will stop a lot of pirating. It's very, very silly. And then I also want to talk about Blade. We'll go into that in a minute. So, guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do. I know that's a bit of an ask for you just coming into the stream. You're probably like, oh, gee, let me settle down. Let me kick my shoes off and enjoy myself first. Well, you can enjoy yourself. Just hit the like button first. Second thing is, if you could also, I would love, join the channel. That would be amazing. There's also a Patreon that you can join as well. If you are feeling a bit generous, you can join for as little as £1, which I don't know what that translates to in good old USA or in Europe or whatever, but that would be amazing. If not, just watch the videos and like the videos and keep joining the streams. Loving that you're doing that. And so far, only one person's told me how they're feeling out of a 10. So I need more. A 1.8. I need a bit more. Did I miss out on anyone else? No. Come on, guys. I know we're here to talk about. We're going to have a bit of a. I know this is going to be a very ferocious debate. We're going to have a lot of bad words to say to each other, but we can start off on a high note and then work our way down. I feel. Let me get this Blade 2 screen up. Blade 1. It's not even Blade 2. Blade 1 because it's a reboot. Anyway, I'll get your guys' opinions on what you think about the reboot, the rebuttal. Vitaphone 8 out of 10. That's your highest, I think. 10 out of 10 bitches for Kerwin. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, and 1,000 out of 1,000 for Jay. Love that. The Androdome, America here, living in Tbilisi, Georgia. We often get movies on time, but not all of them. I know a few people from Georgia. Which is really weird because not many people, I don't want to say not many people are from Georgia. Of course they are, but it's very rare to find people outside of Georgia, in the UK especially, but I know quite a few Georgians. So hello. Peru, you have Father's Day. So yeah, maybe it's just in America then. Maybe it's just in America. I should know. Again, 8 out of 10 for Kenny, 8 out of 10 for James. Hello, James. And hello, Kenny. I'm amped to finally silence the Tarantino I'm amped to finally silence Tarantino started BS that the 80s is the worst. Okay, cool. I don't know. So Vitaphone, did Tarantino actually say that? I think he said that recently, didn't he? He said that in an interview with the guy, what's his name, the comedian. I think he said that like 2 years ago or something. Unfortunately, we're not here to talk about the worst movie decades ever. We're here to talk about the best movie decades ever. But if I was picking out the worst movies decade, it would be the 80s by a landslide. And that's based purely on the good and the bad. I'm not going to just pick out the good and then go, that's good. I'm going to go pick out the bad as well. And there's way more bad in the 80s than any other decade. Maybe ever, but 2017 was rough. I'm going to show you guys what 2017 was like a bit later. But anyway, George Stalin was the most famous Georgian. Well, we're not here to talk about George, to talk about Joseph Stalin. Not on this stream anyway. You may have jumped into the wrong stream. But yeah, it's good that he was Georgian. The most popular 80s movies really don't. Yeah, well, Dan, I don't know about that. I don't want to debate that per se. I do want to debate that, but I don't know if I agree with that part of what you're saying. When you say popular, Dan, do you mean blockbuster-wise? Or do you mean critically acclaimed? Because critically acclaimed, I'm not sure if I agree. Hello, Gamer Vet. I think this is the second time you jumped on the stream. Good to have you in here. Each one has its strengths, just depends on how much of it actually just up is propaganda. 80s were very propaganda, but all decades were propaganda, I guess. And with the 80s overwhelmingly bad and super commercial, they were. But Vitaphone's going to fight the case. And guys, at some point, I will put a link in the stream. You can jump on and fight for your decade if you want. If you're feeling brave, you can jump on, fight the case for your decade. That's going to be absolutely fine. We're going to have that tonight. He did say that, but I think he was overreacting. 80s are fairly treated. Yeah, I know. But tonight, guys, whatever you say, I'm going to jump on. I'm going to use it against you. I'm talking about popular movies that people will talk about. So, Dan, can you name me two? Name me two of those movies. I would love to hear what kind of movies you're talking about, because I think you're talking about like Die Hard and maybe like Commander and Predator, stuff like that. Let me know. You guys have got some amazing comments here. I'm just getting overwhelmed. 80s Predator, Alien, Terminator, Star Wars 5 and 6. For me, Star Wars 1 and 2, or 3 and 4, or whatever. 1, 2, and 3. Most of the original Star Trek movies, Beverly Hills Cop, several of the Rockies. That more than makes up for the Duffers. I wish that was true, James, but when I show you some of these clips I'm going to be showing you, I don't know if it does. We've seen a few days ago a video about Japan's golden era, and nowadays maybe it's my favorite decade of movies. Guyver, the anime. Yes, Guyver was sick. If you don't know about Guyver, just Google Guyver. Just the outfit was sick. I never really got into the cartoons, but the costume is just the best costume. I think RoboCop may be second, but wow, Guyver was. And don't forget about MacGyver. What a legend. Has anyone seen the film? Is it Not MacGuffin. It's like a parody of MacGyver. That was the SNL skit that made it into a movie. But MacGyver was the bomb, as they say. RoboCop exists. RoboCop is an incredible film. Back to the Future is an incredible film. Big. Everyone forgets about Big. Incredible film. All incredible films. Glory. There's so many great films from the 80s. Indiana Jones. 2 of them. One of them's good. 2 of them are great. So this MacGruber. That's it. MacGruber. So there's so many. But anyway. Let's quickly talk about, before we go into decades, let's quickly, who cares about Blade? Does anyone here care about Blade? Does anyone here give a flying F about Blade? Because I didn't. What I did back in 2019 when it was announced, I was like, they cannot do this. You cannot have Mahershala Ali as Blade. I love the guy. He's an Oscar winner, great actor. But Wesley Snipes is Blade. And nothing's going to beat Blade 1 and Blade 2. I prefer Blade 1, but nothing's going to beat Blade 1 and Blade 2. But as time's gone on, I've kind of got excited for the idea. I've not really been excited about the ideas that I've heard that they're going to put into the film, where he's like the 4th character. That sounds terrible. But I was excited for the actual film. And it seems like they are not going to make it because they keep changing the writers or changing the directors or changing the plot or changing the script, or it just seems like it's not going to be made at this point. But yeah, Blade, I care. White Noise, I do too. I care about Blade 2. I really do. No, he's my favorite superhero. The second is the Punisher. Yeah, they're kind of similar, aren't they? I might get a lot of pelters for saying they're quite similar, but they're quite similar. They're very much in the dark side of things. They're very much like underground, very violent, very not Marvel, which is the alarming thing, because I think this film's going to definitely not be a blood fest at all. Bring back Wesley Snipes. He's a bit old now, but I would like to see him in the film, but not maybe as Whistler, but definitely not fighting, because that would look lame. We saw De Niro trying to kick someone in the street in The Irishman, and believe me, it did not look good. Tito Risvolto. In theory, a new Blade with him could be good if they were to make it based on an entirely new vision of the character. Totally agree. Apparently, Jordan Peele might take over. Not the biggest Jordan Peele fan, but I think he'll definitely take the boat from one side of the ocean to the other. I think he's a very safe pair of hands. Yes, I love Ali, and I thought his casting was actually measured. Unfortunately, things are not going well. They're not going. They're going bad. Make Blade an Asian woman. Oh dear. Yeah, I know. Gamer, it's just, unless he's going to be like another Blade, which would be stupid, I don't see how he can fit in it could be the villain. It could be the villain. I don't know. It could be the villain, but that'd be really weird if he was the villain and then he was the original Blade. Because I know it's not part of the MCU, the original Blade, but it kind of feels like it is to me. And then if he became the villain, that would just ruin it. I want to see him in the film, but not as Blade. Scott, hello. Nice to have you in here. We're just talking about something completely irrelevant from the point of the video or the stream. So I do apologize if you've come in here to talk about the decades. We are going to talk about that in a very few seconds. In fact, those few seconds are upon us because it's been 20 minutes. And I think we need to have a little bit of a chat about the decades. Now, before we start talking about the decades, this is a free-for-all, guys. There's no structure to this. It's an absolute free-for-all. So feel free to jump in with your opinions and thoughts. I am going to roughly kind of go through all the decades from start to finish. It's not going to take very long. It's going to be very quick. I'm going to get them up on screen, and we're going to pick out some of the best films from those decades and talk about those films. And then we're going to have a bit of just a massive fight. And I tend to think the 80s were awful. What is that sound? I tend to think the 80s were awful, but yeah, who knows? Right. So before we get into that, I want to show you guys another scene from the 80s because you guys love the 80s so much. Watch this.
Hey, those little creeps are Like,
Yeah. So that is the 80s for you. If anyone still wants to fight for the 80s, Vitaphone, I wouldn't know if it is the Acolyte because I've not seen it. I've only seen little clips and people taking the piss out of it. So my knowledge of the Acolyte is based on people's opinions of it. But I imagine based on the scenes I've seen, it could be from the same teams that brought you those clips because it looks like dog shite. The scene when they're singing that song, that song is awful. Who actually saw that and went, that is okay. Let's put that on TV. Let's do it, guys. Let's put that on TV. What is going on? That song is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, let's stop talking about the Acolyte and let's get the 20s up on screen. The first of our decades. Jay, you're gonna go down in a burning flame if you stand on business for the 80s. Believe me. Right, the 20s. So I don't know much about the 20s. I obviously wasn't around in the 20s, much to some people's disbelief. But what I do know about it is more academically, like what I've studied about it. I didn't go to film school. I didn't go to any sort of school for film, but I studied it myself. And these are some of the best films from the 20s. The Gold Rush, Nosferatu, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Battleship Potemkin, Metropolis. Some absolutely legendary films there that kind of started, like for example, Metropolis is definitely a precursor to something like Blade Runner. So they're very important films. Like some of the stuff they did back then, technically speaking, is just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But at the same time, we have to remember this is probably like the second real decade for filmmaking. So, you do anything in life. Like the second time you had sex, if you have had sex, probably wasn't great. And the second decade for movies wasn't great, but it did lay some of the groundwork for some of the stuff that followed it. So I can't sit here and defend the 1920s. So I don't know enough about it. If anyone wants to defend the 1920s, here we go. Ray's defending it. I love the 20s a lot. It's not the best, of course, but it walked so latter decades could run, like latter decades could run. Absolutely. Gagnan, you are commenting on someone else's. Okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to defend the 20s, come on in. Defend it on the stream, on the chat. Defend it. You can defend it later on when I invite you in to chat about it. But honestly speaking, Abel, Glances, Napoleon, Pandora's Box. Yeah, well, you guys know your shit. The General, which is, I think The General is a Charlie Chaplin film, I think, MK. The 1930s. We are doing that now. So yeah, 20s I don't really know much about. So I can't defend it, but I would say even if I could defend it, I wouldn't be able to call it the best decades for movies because it's not. All right, so the 30s. Gone with the Wind, King Kong, Modern Times, The Wizard of Oz, my favorite film. And Citizen Kane technically isn't a 1930s film. I don't know why I put NA there. This is actually quite an old template that I had from a video that I made months ago for the channel. And I think I put it on there because Citizen Kane came out in 1941, but I think it was made in 1939, or I think it came out in 1940, but was made in 1930. Anyway, point is, Citizen Kane could be lumped in there, but there's some really good films here. King Kong, as racist as it is another huge technical advancement in filmmaking. Gone with the Wind, not seen it. Again, I need to set aside 4 hours to sit down and watch it. I need to watch it. It looks gorgeous from the clips I've seen. So I'd love to see it, even though, again, it's a bit racist. Wizard of Oz is just, for me, it's not the greatest film, but it's definitely one of the greatest films ever. And again, my favorite film ever made. So what are you guys thinking about the 1930s? Joan of Arc is still incredible, though it's 28, so almost 30s. We're going to put it in the 20s, though. So if anyone wants to argue with Joan of Arc, it is a tremendous film. Yeah, Jay Pillar. I think I asked you about that as well, Jay, didn't I? A couple of weeks back when you came on the stream. Gangster films. That was the 30s, was it? Whereas Dracula, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yes, that's absolutely right. That was the 30s, and Snow White is a tremendous film. I was talking about that with someone just before I came on the stream. Vampire is 31. Love that. All right, let's get rid of this one, and let's move on to the next one, which is going to be the 40s. So as you can see, I'm just bumping through them, guys, and then we'll just have a massive fight. I'm going to tell you guys that the 80s were trash. Right. Casablanca. 1940s, Casablanca, which is maybe the greatest screenplay ever written. It's a Wonderful Life, Double Indemnity, which is a really good film. Billy Wilder film, if I remember correctly. The Third Man, which I didn't like that film, but it is a classic film with Orson Welles. The Bicycle Thieves is an incredible Italian film. If you've not seen it, after the stream, whack it on. It's not very long, and it's I don't want to say it's life-changing, but it's life-changing. It's a magnificent film. Magnificent film. 40s had World War II, so lacking a lot of films. Totally agree again. The Dictator, 1940. Yeah, really, Recetas, great movies. Great. Cinema got better and better and better. And then I think it hit a point, which we're going to get to next, where probably due to the war, which Gagnan brought up a minute ago, it hit a bit of a roadblock. And we're going to see that next in the next screen that I bring up. 40s Italian neorealism. Yep, fantastic decade. And again, that was to do with the war. Abbott and Costello. Right. Next up, the swinging 50s. I don't know if it's called the swinging 50s, but that's what I'm going to call it. The swinging 50s. So we have got Vertigo, which is, I love, a lot of people don't like Vertigo. I do love Vertigo. It's a Hitchcock film, which is definitely his most trippy film. And when I say trippy, I mean, most of his films follow a very, very rigid structure. Apart from the one that I forgot about last time with the plane and Cary Grant. But most of them follow quite a rigid structure so that he can do his technical blah blahs. But this one is just very, very all over the place, but very psychedelic in a weird way as well. On the Waterfront, which is magnificent Marlon Brando film. 12 Angry Men, which is one of the greatest films ever made. Seven Samurai, which is one of the greatest films ever made. And Rear Window, which is one of the greatest films ever made. So my point about films getting worse is actually destroyed by this list here. Look at this. This is some of the most powerhouse films ever made. Wow. There was a lot of trash in the 50s, though, but this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, Recetas, just incredible. MK, is that correct? Was Singing in the Rain 1952? Is that correct? Because that is another powerhouse of a film. Vitaphone. The 1950s made 1.6 billion. These numbers removes marketing and production costs. Is that adjusted for inflation? Or is that actually what it made in that year? I think I'm missing another film on this list, which is Sunset Boulevard as well. Cat on the Hot Tin Roof, which I've not seen. I think it's a Brando film. Some hard 8s and 9s from the 50s. Totally. Strongest decade so far. Bergman as well, totally amazing. Rebel Without a Cause, East for Eden 2, wonderful films with James Dean. La Strada, which is a Fellini film, if I remember correctly, MK. Iriku is from the 50s, which is a Kurosawa film. High Noon, yes, High Noon, my God. Bridge Over the River Kwai, yes, incredible film. David Lean. Another amazing film. This is definitely the strongest decade so far. So far, by far as well. Like Sunset Boulevard is one of my favorite films. It's not even on this list. Paths of Glory is a underrated Kubrick gem. I think also his heist film came out that year. Can someone fact check if his heist film came out that year as well? I forgot what it's called. But that's another great film. I prefer it to Paths of Glory. The Seventh Seal, yeah, Bergman. Tokyo Story. My God, this is an incredible decade. Incredible decade. So let's keep this one up. We're going to keep this one up because obviously I think can everyone agree with me? Just a show of yeses or nos. Is that the strongest decade so far? Yeses and nos. That's all I need. North by Northwest. That's the one with the Dust Cropper and Cary Grant. Yes or no? Is that the strongest decade so far? That's all I need from you guys. I can even put a little poll in the chat. No, I won't actually. I'll just leave it open for now. Yes. Loads of yeses. The Killing. That's the one, Vitaphone. The Killing. Incredible film. I prefer it to Paths of Glory. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the 60s, which, wow. If you guys could see what I can see right now. Wow. This is pretty big stuff. Let me try and get this off the screen. Right. Psycho, Lawrence of Arabia, Space Odyssey 2001, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, To Kill a Mockingbird. I didn't like To Kill a Mockingbird. It just kind of bored me, to be honest with you. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a seminal film for Western movies. Seminal. Space Odyssey 2001, maybe the greatest sci-fi film ever made. Probably is. Lawrence of Arabia, every director in the world wants to remake that film. And when I say remake that film, what I mean really is that they shoot a film in the desert and they go, I was inspired by Lawrence of Arabia, like Indiana Jones, where Spielberg has come out and been very open that he's copied Lawrence, well, not copied, but, got inspiration from Lawrence of Arabia. Dune as well. So many films take so much from Lawrence of Arabia. And Psycho, obviously another very seminal film in the horror genre. This is, guys, this decade, I don't know which one's better. Any other films from the 70s you guys can think of? Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but it is a good film. You better have the... I don't remember. This is like months ago, so it's probably not in there, to be honest with you. The Producers, Mel Brooks, amazing film. 50s and 60s, tough fight, totally. The Dolce Vita, greatest film ever, Contestant. Not seen that film. I've seen 8.5. That's the only Fellini film I've seen is 8.5. The big films are here. The big films here are great, but so much trash in the 60s. Yes, that is true. Not as bad as the 80s, though. So just saying. Yojimbo, Kurosawa, yeah, Rosemary's Baby. We won't talk about the director. Dr. Strangelove, Bonnie and Clyde. You're forgetting about the French Revolution. You're forgetting about that in the 60s. The Graduate, amazing. Sitting behind me, the poster. Dr. Zhivago, which I've not seen. David Lean film. I need to watch that. I wish I could have seen 2001. So, Liam, good to have you in here. 2001 is always back in the theater. It's always back in the theater. So if you just stay posted. I don't know where you live, Liam. With a name like Liam, you might be based in the UK. So it's always in the theater. So just keep an eye out and Google it, and it will come out. It will probably be out this year at some point. Planet of the Apes, the best one. Oh, I don't know, Recitas. I don't know. I've not seen the original, but the new ones have been good. Not the most recent one. Not seen that one either, but that trilogy was really, even the first one with James Franco was really good. Yeah, I didn't like To Kill a Mockingbird. I kept hearing it's amazing, but it's not. Marcus, have you not watched Fellini? Yeah, I've not. NL, I've not. Blow Up is tremendous film. British, well, kind of a British film. Set in Britain, set in London. It's even got the Rolling Stones, one of their first performances in that film. It's really weird watching the film and you see the Rolling Stones pop up. I think it's the Rolling Stones. Someone might have to fact check me on that, but I think it's the Rolling Stones. They pop up in the film. No, it wasn't. It was the Animals, I think. Anyway, someone fact check me. Red Desert. The Sporting Life, Lawrence Arabia should never be remade. Totally, Paul, and it won't be. Definitely won't be. West Side Story. Has anyone seen West Side Story? Just the colors in that film are so rich. The opening dance sequence is just one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my whole life. In my whole life, one of the greatest things I've ever seen. The Graduate, Easy Rider, such a seminal film. Once Upon a Time, Vita film. Which one's that? The Great Escape, Sound of Music. Not seen Sound of Music either. The Birds. Not seen that. The Apartment is fan-effing-tastic. Billy Wilder again. Might be like top 3 best directors ever. Although we did a tier list, and I don't think he came in top 3. I think he was like 8th or something. Hate musicals. I don't. I love them. The Yardbirds. The Yardbirds. Are you sure? You know more than me. You're probably Googling it. Count of Monte Cristo. High and Low. Tremendous film being remade by Spike Lee and Denzel Washington. Youth, No Taste, as it addresses an evil that should be eradicated. I don't know what that's about, but I'll try and find out what you guys are talking about there. Midnight Cowboy, tremendous as well. What an amazing film. Once Upon a Time in the West. Yes. Didn't really like that film as much as Once Upon a Time. Sorry. Well, yes, as Once Upon a Time in America. And also Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But it is a great film. High and Low, masterpiece. Once Upon a Time in the West. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Yep. So 60s were amazing. They were amazing. But it's time to move on. It's time to move on to my favorite decade ever. The decade that, for me, I think it's the most important decade of film ever. And it had the 60s to thank for that, because the 60s kind of opened it was more to do with the politics in the 60s rather than the films in the 60s. The politics in the 60s allowed for a lot more free thinking from directors. There's a lot more going on. You had Vietnam, you had civil rights movements. So the 70s were a chance for filmmakers to really show exactly what their political agendas were, but also they had a lot more of a free reign because of films like Easy Rider. Had a lot more of a free reign over what they could do with filmmaking. Easy Rider was an independent film that was very low budget. I think it was directed by Dennis Hopper. It's got Jack Nicholson in it. And it wasn't meant to be as big as it was in terms of its box office success, critical success as well. And it allowed a lot of doors to open up. It allowed Jack Nicholson to become more prominent as an actor. And it allowed filmmakers to have more freedom behind the camera. And of course, we had, I think it was Robert, I forgot his name. Oh, dearie me. There's a documentary about him as well. He's a producer from the 70s who was the head of Paramount. And he greenlighted a lot of amazing films in the 70s. Godfather, for one, and Love Story for another. And he was very important in Hollywood. Okay, so let me shut my mouth so we can get on with this. The Godfather, Star Wars, Apocalypse Now, Jaws, Taxi Driver. So, obviously, some of the, I don't say anything, do I? I don't say anything at all. These films they're not just great films, they're also incredibly successful films as well. Star Wars, obviously, is one of the most important films for sci-fi, or just in general, ever made, as is The Godfather. Star Wars is more important, I would say, in terms of where we are now, but The Godfather certainly started a lot of people off as filmmakers. TH-113 is the best thing Lucas has ever done, made in 1971. I did not like that film at all, Dan. I'm so sorry. Didn't like it. I tried it, didn't like it. Deliverance, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, Rocky Horror Show, Phantom of the Paradise. Only seen Deliverance from that list. The Exorcist, incredible film. French Connection 2. It wasn't Gamer. It wasn't Robert Kennedy, if that's what you mean. Love Deer Hunter, amazing film. Alien, amazing film. Chinatown, wow, wow, wow. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Maybe the best sci-fi. Not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. I think it's a good film, but it's definitely not one of my favorite Spielberg films. Solaris and Stalker. Yep, the film that killed the director, Stalker. If no one knows the story about how that killed the director, then I'm happy to tell you. Man, you people don't know movies. Kelly's Heroes, The Gods Are Crazy, Kiri, Odds and Evens, Jesus Christ Superstar. Those were movies. I agree with you on Kiri. I do love Kiri. And again, I'm not a big horror fan, but that film is really well made. And it's because, again, I spoke about this in another stream, Brian De Palma loves Hitchcock. And that film is very Hitchcockian. Harold and Maude, which is Robert Altman, I think. American Graffiti, I've not seen that either. Patton, I have seen that. Found it a bit boring and a bit long, but it's written by Francis Ford Coppola. Solaris, Mirror, Woman Under the Influence. You guys are loving this decade, aren't you? Annie Hall, best romantic comedy ever made. Dark Star, Network, and Alien Network is tremendous. Halloween, whatever. Network again, amazing film. Life of Brian, so funny, very funny film. The Warriors come out and play. Is that 70s? White Noise. I thought it was the 80s, but you're right. I think it is 70s, isn't it? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, amazing film. 70s Coppola, Scorsese, Lucas, Allen, Fellini, Bergman, De Niro, Brando. Those names, they're still around. These names. Well, Fellini's not. Neither is Bergman. But a lot of these names are still around, and they're still incredible. Hill and Spencer Fan, Dog Day Afternoon. Wow, what a film that is! Dog Day Afternoon. Barry Lyndon, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Dog Day Afternoon, Clockwork Orange, Eraserhead. You guys are having fun with this decade, aren't you? Ray, that was made in 1975. It won the best. I think it won Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director. It done the Big Five. I think it's only been done 3 times. I think, which is Silence of the Lambs, that film, and another film I can't remember. I think I'm correct in saying that, but I might be wrong. Spirit of the Beehive, Warriors 1979, Rocky Horror Show, Salo, I've heard about that as well. Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman was banned. I think in the UK it was banned. I think it was banned up until a few years ago, actually. But yeah, we had some fun with the 70s, so let's move on. Let's go to the 80s. The swinging 80s. Everything's swinging. Not in my house, but you know what I mean. We're having some fun here. There we go. The 80s. So, let me go through these, shall I? I've got this thing on the screen. Let me get rid of that. E.T., The Shining, Blade Runner, Raging Bull, Indiana Jones, and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, I mean, I think I've got this wrong, isn't it? The Shining definitely was not in 1993. Yeah, so these are films. These are all films. I don't want to give the 1980s Raging Bull because it was made in 1979. But sure, you can have it. You can have that one in the 80s. Why not? These films. Now, let's be honest, guys. I'm not trying to manipulate the situation. I'm not trying to pretend to a PR exercise or propaganda. But these films, as great as they are, do they match up to those films in the 70s or in the 60s or even in the 50s? Just have a little think. Do you think these films match up to anything in the 70s, 60s, and 50s? If you do, you must be bloody mad. They've got no, apart from Raging Bull, none of these films can shine a torch on something like On the Waterfront or 2001 Space Odyssey or Lawrence of Arabia. Like, some of these films are just imitating those films, as we spoke about before. So let me get 70s up again. Godfather. Does anything touch The Godfather? Anything touch Apocalypse Now? Anything touch Jaws? Taxi Driver? Anyway, you guys hit me with some names. Hit me with some names. Last Temptation of Christ, underrated, not seen it. Scorsese film, another long ass film, and definitely not one of his best, but I've not seen it, so I can't say that. I just did. Wings of Desire, amazing film. Paris, Texas, I think is overrated, but I understand why people like it. Brazil, Terry Gilliam film, lovely film, got De Niro in it as well. Goodfellas is 90, so yeah, that doesn't count for the 80s. Do the Right Thing is definitely top 2 best 80s film. Ghostbusters is great and it's fun, but it doesn't touch these films we've been talking about before. Die Hard doesn't touch any of those films we're talking about before. Stand By Me is a good film by Rob Reiner, but it's not better than his other film, Princess Bride, or even what's that parody? Not spoof, it's a parody film that he did. It's a mockumentary. It's not better than that. Full Metal Jacket's good, but is it better than 2001? Is it better than Barry Lyndon from the 70s? No. Scarface is good, but it's not that good. Honestly, Featured's really good, but is it better than Heat? No. The Thing is a good film. I'm not gonna. Vitaphone's gonna kill me if I say anything bad about The Thing. The Thing's a good film. Blue Velvet it's a good film, but I prefer Mulholland Drive myself. Blade Runner, The Shining, Raging Bull are all filled with amazing filmmaking. Totally agree with that. Pink Floyd on the Wall. Oh, no, Pink Floyd, The Wall, based on their album. Full Metal Jacket is good, but it's not his best work. I'm not a fan of The Godfather. Oh, dearie me. Untouchables is a good film, but it's Brian De Palma. It's a bit hokey. It's a bit comic booky. Whoa, Kerwin. What are you doing? What's happening here? What? You taking pills? What?
You get your fucking hands off me.
Kerwin, I'm so disappointed in you. How could you make such a scandalous comment? I mean, for me, it's not better than The Insider, which was 1999, I think. Not better than Heat by any stretch of the imagination at all. So, but, you know, filmmaking's all about opinions, I guess. But wow, that hurt. That hurt, Kerwin. Platoon, incredible film. I said this before in the last stream. Oliver Stone is an underrated director. Incredible 80s. Wall Street, Platoon. What else did he do in the 80s? Salvador, incredible director. Amadeus, amazing film. Dead Poet Society, another great film. Come and See is fantastic. And I would say so far, apart from Raging Bull, it's the only film that can touch any film we've spoken about so far from the other decades. It's my personal opinion. I'm not a great fan of David Lynch. I am not either. Blues Brothers, Fish Called Wonder. Fish Called Wonder's fun. Blues Brothers is fun as well. Heavy Metal, I've heard of it, not seen it. Whoa. Tetro.
You get your fucking hands off me.
Tetro, what's happening here? What's happening here? What the? Guys, you guys on pills? What's happening in the chat? Really? King of Comedy, amazing film. Kerwin, you're not just being controversial. You're being something else. That's what you are. You're being something else. The Terminator, great film. Fletch and Spaceballs, why not? That's what I say. Why not? The Dresser. Jay, what is The Dresser? In the UK, a dresser is like a cabinet for your clothes. Is it a film as well? I've tried twice to watch The Thief. I actually like The Thief, but it's not anywhere near Heat at all. Shoha documentary, 4-hour documentary. I've not seen it, but I've heard it's good. Empire, Jedi, yep, great films. Hello, Rickiv Underground. Good to have you in here. The Shining is from 1993. It's not. That was my mistake. This is done months ago. I was young and foolish. The Princess Bride is wonderful. Fanny and Alexander. I've not seen it, but I know it's a Bergman film. Marcus Fleming's Tell Folks Not From the UK what video nasties are. Video nasties are things like Stray Dogs, Clockwork Orange. They're films that were banned in the 80s and 90s because they were too graphic. So again, Clockwork Orange, Straw Dogs. I'm trying to think of some more, but I can't off the top of my head. They were banned. I think Hellraiser as well initially was banned as well. I've not seen it, but the cover always scared me. So they're video nasties. They're VHS tapes that were not allowed in the UK. And if you got caught with that, you get arrested. Ran and Kagemusha. Anyone? No, I've not seen that. It's one of the Oliver Stone's films I've not seen. Nostalgia is really great. So you guys are White Noise. Okay, we'll come back onto that in a bit. You're actively avoiding horror, a shame. It kept the theaters alive in the 80s. Shake my head. So Gamer Vet, tell me some 80s. Go on. Tell me some 80s horror movies. A Room with a View. This is a TV movie, but I still love it. Anybody heard of V? Of course. V was not a TV movie. V was a TV series. I remember being super young. I don't know how old I was. So young. And I saw the commercials for it on TV, and it looked like, just imagine, I remember seeing the commercials for Lost, the TV shows, and it was huge. The premiere was huge, amazing, incredible. And V was very similar to that in the 80s, but the show's not very good. Personally, Collateral is one of my favorite films by man. Only ever seen Heat and Thief, though. I'll have to give a rewatch to Heat. Please do, Liam. Also watch The Insider. If you're into slow burn in cinema, it is definitely, I think it's very close to being his best film, but I do believe Heat is just hands and feet, his best film. The Shining, directed in 1993. Maybe, that's probably why I've made that mistake. What else we got here? Batman, yeah, whatever. Lady Hawk, yeah. Myths and Lies, fun. I'm not really a big fan of the 80s, guys. I got to be honest. The music was not good. Let's have a quick debate before we go to the 90s. 80s music, I think, is some of the worst music ever. Apart from modern day music, which is trash, the 80s had some really rough music. The 70s had beautiful soul. It had Led Zeppelin. It had what else did it have? Had like early dance. It had disco music. 60s were incredible. There's politics in the music, but beautiful love songs, Motown, Rolling Stones, the Beatles. The 50s, like the doo-wop era, like some of the swing music, incredible. 40s, again, early swing, some gorgeous jazz numbers. And then the 80s was just people pressing one button on a piano, on a synthesizer, and doing that for 3 minutes, and someone going, whoa, 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 whoa. It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So 80s music, and movies, trash. 80s music, trash. 80s films, trash. That's what I think. 80s music, absolutely banging. One for me. No, wow. Not for me. I'm into electro, so the 80s tunes. Yes, I know. I am an 80s hater. I lived through the motherfucker. They weren't that good, guys. I think in retrospect, when you didn't live through them, you're like, 80s were so good. They weren't. They weren't so good. They weren't so good. I'm sorry. The 90s beat the 80s any day. Any day. Oh yeah, White Noise. I agree with that. Purple Rain. So the song Purple Rain from Purple Rain is one of the greatest songs ever made. And in fact, Prince is one of the greatest artists ever made. And his best stuff was in the 80s. And Michael Jackson as well. So there was some good stuff in there, for sure. But then when I, again, weigh it up against the trash, I can't have it. A Man on a Piano. Do you still love me, baby? Do you still love me? Whoa. Like you didn't even need to be able to sing in the 80s. You could just stand and talk. And it's absolutely fine. Absolutely. It's like mumble rap. Now it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Marcus, I'm sorry, Vitaphone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm being a bit mean. I'm sorry. And Vitaphone, I know you know way more about music than I do, so I should probably shut my mouth. Michael Jackson's Thriller music video was amazing. The best music videos were in the 80s for sure. Not the best music, but that's just my personal opinion. Das Boots is incredible. Kate Bush was great. I agree. She was fan-bloody-tastic. She was incredible. There's loads of great artists in the 80s. Not saying there wasn't good artists, there was, but there's a lot of trash as well. A lot of trash. Even like, I hate ABBA. I hate ABBA so much. God, they annoy me. Spandau Ballet. Gold. Da, 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 do, do, do. I don't want to get copyright strict. Copyright strict. I don't want to get a copyright strike. So I'm not going to sing any more of that song. Purple Rain was trash movie. Mad Max, I didn't enjoy it that much. It's a good film, but it's like a 6 for me. Michael Jackson, nay. Marty directed so Marty directed Bad, and it's got Wesley Snipes in the music video, and he has Michael Jackson has a fight against Wesley Snipes. Stupid. It's a good video though. And then who directed Thriller? That was does anyone know? Oh God, he's the director of damn it. He's director of the Eddie Murphy film Coming to America and Eddie Murphy film Trading Places. And his son Max got cancelled a few years back. He's on YouTube. Very fun guy, actually. Gold is the best non-James Bond theme. Depeche Mode. REM were good. Maria, REM were fantastic. I would say they were better in the 90s, though. I do like their 80s stuff as well, though. John Landis, that's it. So John Landis directed Thriller. He was on such a high. He did done that film in the 70s with Bill Murray, which is it Caddyshack? I don't know if he did Caddyshack. Was it Caddyshack? Someone let me know. And then he did that werewolf film, American Werewolf in London, I think it's called. And he also did did he do Blues Brothers? Am I wrong in saying did Blues Brothers? But anyway, he had an incredible start to the 80s. He did the Michael Jackson music video, which was the biggest video ever. He was, by all accounts, probably the biggest director in Hollywood at one point. And then he was making, I think he was making a part of the Twilight Zone movie. And if anyone knows the story, I'm not going to be too graphic, but there's a scene with an actor whose name I cannot remember, quite a well-known actor at the time, and it involved a helicopter. And he was meant to grab, the actor was meant to grab these two children and run away from the helicopter, I believe the scene was. But there was a bit of an incident where the helicopter, the top of the helicopter, unfortunately decapitated these people. The actor, I think he decapitated the kids as well. And that kind of spelt the end of his career as a director. He still directed a lot of stuff in the 80s, but he had obviously that was a very traumatic experience. And on top of that, Vic Morrow, that's it, Vic Morrow. On top of that, kind of ruined his career, unfortunately. And then his son, Max Landis, got cancelled a few years ago. I don't know if you guys ever know who that is, but he was very popular. He is actually the writer of The Chronicle, that film with Michael B. Jordan. And he's wrote a few other Hollywood films as well, but he got cancelled a few years back and struggled. He wrote that crappy Will Smith film where there's orcs and demons and stuff. Awful film. Absolutely awful film. Chop Chop. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Twilight Zone was a cursed film. Yeah. Anyway, let me stop talking shit. Guns N' Roses was also trash. I'm not going to say anything about Guns N' Roses. That was Sagnik. That was Gagnan. That was not me. I'm not saying anything about those guys. I know they're very much loved and respected, so I will shut my mouth. And that's not my opinion. That is Gagnan's opinion. Twilight Zone. Yeah. Anyway, the kids with Vic were pinned under a helicopter and drowned. Oh, fuck. Just imagine directing a film and that happens. And it's like, he kind of got the blame for it because I think from what I remember, Vic Morrow was just a bit tired and overused. So he got the blame. There's a court case and everything, and he eventually got acquitted of any charges. But that must have been very harrowing as a director to go through that. Anyway, Bright, thanks for reminding me of it. Bright is so bad. Such a bad film. Such a bad film. Terrible film. Anyway, the 90s. Let's get up the 90s, guys. If you've just joined, please hit the like button. I said please. I would love for you to hit the like button. If you're enjoying yourself, why not share it? Why not tell your friends? Tell them to come on in. We're here every Saturday, 7:45 UK time. We're here on Tuesdays as well, 7:45 UK time. And we just chop it up. We don't talk about the current events mainly. We try to, but I think everyone gets bored with that. And I think you guys come here for other things, because I have tried to talk about modern day current events and you guys go, yeah, whatever, don't care. You guys want to talk about real cinema. And so do I. That's what my channel's all about. It's not about current movies per se, even though I do go into that sometimes. Kind of stupid for not doing that, to be honest with you. I should do that because probably have like 1 million subscribers by now. But 1 million, that's stupid. I have more subscribers by now, but I don't know. I'm a real connoisseur of film, and I don't really particularly like modern day film. So why should I talk about it? Right. This is going to be a huge one. Pause. Pulp Fiction, Schindler's List. Are ready, guys? Pulp Fiction, Schindler's List. Come on. The 80s are just irrelevant. Those two films by themselves beat any film from the 80s, apart from Raging Bull and Come See and maybe a couple of others. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a huge powerhouse film that could compete in the 60s, 70s, and 50s. Shawshank Redemption, another film that can compete. The Matrix. Come on. What are we doing here, guys? Come on. You know, you guys are trolling. If you think that the 80s are better than the 90s, just based on this, you're trolling. For sure. For sure. Of cinema, I missed there The Thin Red Line. Yes, The Thin Red Line is a great film. I really enjoy that film. Not a Tarantino fan, so things get messy. I am a Tarantino fan. I'm not a Tarantino fanboy, but I am a Tarantino fan. So it could get messy. Pulp Fiction overrated. Oh, dearie me. J.
You get your fucking hands off me.
J. Had to give you it. Pause. Forrest Gump. The Matrix beats the rest of your list. Really? The Matrix beats Schindler's List. It's ironic. That was not a dark joke. I just meant list. Boogie Nights, yes, incredible. Magnolia, incredible, but Magnolia was 2000, so it doesn't count. The 90s had the best formula for making 7 out of 10 movies. Vitaphone, love this. 7.4 billion adjusted for inflation. 90s, 7.4 billion adjusted for inflation. 90s, 33. Okay, I see what you're saying. So adjusted for inflation, it was 33 billion. Love Vitaphone. Do me a favor, because I've lost some of these. Could you send me the one for the 80s, 70s? Could you send me them all again? I'll look out for them now and I'll star them, because I think it's pretty important stuff. Goodfellas, yes, Rositas. Goodfellas. I totally agree. Phantom Menace. NL, ooh. Is it? What? No, it wasn't. Let me have a look. I don't think it was. It was. But was it? Let me have a quick look. Yes, it came out in December 17th. So basically 2000. So I win. The Unforgiven, Shawshank Redemption, and Forrest Gump. Blair Witch Project is trash, but I understand its importance. One of the most important films of recent era. Leon the Professional, or as we call it, or as you guys know, it's called Leon in the UK and it's called The Professional in America. Magnolia, 1999, well, 2000 technically. Maybe it came out in 2000 in the UK. Maybe that's why I think, yeah, let me save myself by saying it came out 2000 in the UK. Let me have a quick look here at my list so I can save myself. Yeah. I'm just going to guess that it was. So 2000. Anaconda. Really? 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 Huh. Total Recall. I know Jay is sarcastic. I know that's a joke. I think it was a joke. Look me in the eye and tell me that was a joke, Jay. Please. Look me in the eye and tell me that was a joke. Total Recall, yeah, just on the prefaces of the 90s. 1990, Total Recall. American Beauty, wonderful film. 7. So, Kevin, are you a Kevin Spacey fan then? Edward, that is Tim Burton's best film. That's Johnny Depp's best film as well. Thank you very much for that, MK. Scream, yep, important film. Not my favorite film. Love the opening sequence. Tombstone, great little film. Green Mile, yeah, sure. And also, just guys, just to kind of overline or underline or just overview this, 1999 is definitely the best year for movies or films ever in the history of films. So for me, that kind of just wins the argument, doesn't it? About this year being great. Oh, here we go, Vitaphone. Thank you very much. I've not seen Age of Innocence. I'm not really a big fan of period dramas. Three Colors Trilogy. Incredible series of films by a Polish director, French films by a Polish director. Titanic. We can count. Yeah, I'm just kidding. So Magnolia is 1999. It did come out in 2000 in the UK, but we're not talking about the UK, are we? We're talking about just the year the film was made and came out. So 1999. True Romance is a good film. Cure, best horror movie ever for my money. Titro, Cure. What is that? Is that that Italian? Is that Abel Ferrara and Christopher Walken? Let me know. Bridges of Madison County. Not seen it. Unforgiven has been mentioned. Oh dear. Oh dear. Kerwin, at last, you're talking sense again. I can see that you've had a sip of water. You've calmed down. Thank you, Kerwin. You're back. You're back, buddy. You're back. Truman Show, underrated film, brilliant film, great Jim Carrey performance, maybe his second best performance after the film with Kate Winslet, which I'm going to remember the name of in a minute. Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick's last movie, great film. Dead Alive, Brain Dead. You guys are forgetting some of the Perfect Blues, incredible film. Baby's Day Out, which is an absolute classic. Thin Red Line, yeah, JFK, Trainspotting. Oh my God, Trainspotting, so flipping good. What an incredible film. Even his film before that, which is, oh God, I forgot what it's called. But yeah, Danny Boyle's film before that as well is brilliant as well. Truman Show, Japanese film, Fargo. Yeah, so many films. Chungking Express. No, Cure is Japanese film. I apologize. There is a vampire film by Abel Ferrara, which is really good as well, black and white. And he made it after he made Bad Lieutenant. And it's a really good vampire film. Got Christopher Walken. 12 Monkeys. Run Lola Run, definitely. Begotten. Whoa. Bronx Tale, directed by Robert De Niro. Heat, which Cohen hates. Sixth Sense. Yep. Sixth Sense is great. Oh, dear, you guys. Shallow Grave, thank you. That's the one. Rushmore. Marcus. Heat. Yep. Ghost in the Shell, 1995. Yeah, not the remake. Fucking hell, that remake. The Addiction, that's the one. Thank you very much. Great film. 1995, am I right? Seventh Sense? Stir of Echoes, 1999. Kevin Bacon film. Walken appears for like 10 minutes. He does. It's got Lily Tomlin, I think. Lily Tomlin? One of the Lilies. Reservoir Dogs. Oh God, what film? After a foreign film stream, I think we can safely say at heart, we're a Western audience. I think we're pretty good, weren't we? I think in the foreign film or the world cinema stream, we were bloody good. We had some great banter in that chat, and everyone knew their foreign films. Right, let's move on. Honestly, if you guys are still rooting for the 80s at this point, I despair for you. I mean, how are we even sitting here talking about the 80s still when we've just gone through the 90s and there's been some absolutely bone-chilling films? I mean, this is from the 80s.
Hello.
Hi.
How is he? Do you think he'd be able to answer a few questions?
No way, his lips are burned.
So what, he'll never be able to talk again?
Oh, he'll talk again, but you just have to give him a couple of weeks. Next time, guys, catch him in one piece.
Thanks, nurse.
Do you like what you see?
I love what I see.
Would you like to touch what you see?
Yes, I would.
Would you like to go out with me?
Yes, I would.
Would you like to fuck me?
Bingo.
Well, then let's see what you've got. Doesn't interest me. Nothing there.
Nothing there? Just exactly what would interest you? Something the size of a jumbo jet?
Have you been
Oh God. Bingo. Honestly, how you guys defending 80s is beyond me. Just beyond me. Wow, that dialogue is just so bad, so incredible. His mate is, the thing is, the way they've shot that scene, you don't even know where his mate is. Like the guy who's just standing there watching this conversation. You don't know where is he? Is he behind the woman? Is he behind the guy? Is he in the room still? Is like such bad filmmaking. My God, such bad filmmaking. Cohen, you got a great question here. I'm going to star that and come back to it. Kenny, White Noise. I mean, I wouldn't add it to your list, but you can definitely watch it. I think it's even online on YouTube. It's damn terrible. It's damn terrible film, but I think you'll enjoy yourself. Right. 2000s. Let's do this. The Dark Knight. There Will Be Blood. The only film on this list that can touch any of the other great films that we've spoken about is There Will Be Blood. No Country for Old Men. Lovely Coen Brothers film. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Fantastic film. Spirited Away. Magnificent film. What else we got, guys, in the 2000s? What else we got? Maria, first of all, thank you for coming in here again. Remind me where you're from. Are you from... Oh, I know you're from South America, but I don't know which part. But thank you for coming into the stream. And please do come more often because, honestly, it's a bit... There's too many guys in this stream sometimes, and it's good to have other perspectives. Let's put it that way. Frankenstein editing. It's just awful. Awful film. Who? Awful. Okay. American Psycho, The Dark Knight, The Machinist. Yeah, all good films. All Christian Bale films. Spirited Away, Zodiac. Zodiac's good, I guess. Almost Famous. Lovely film. You guys didn't say Jerry Maguire in the 90s. Jerry Maguire is fantastic. Fantastic film. Children of Men, bloody-tastic film. Minority Report, brilliant. Must be the Zodiac again. I don't know if it's a masterpiece, but it's definitely good. No Country for Old Men. Whoa. The Anadome. No Country is superior to There Will Be Blood. My lad, have you lost your bloody mind?
You get your fucking hands off me.
What is happening here, guys? You guys have gone absolutely insane. I feel like this is like Twilight Zone. No Country for Old Men is superior to There Will Be Blood. Listen, so we have this in the 90s. We had Nolan, we had Paul Thomas Anderson, we had Quentin Tarantino, we had a bunch of other directors as well. But out of all those directors, David Fincher as well, out of all those directors, only Tarantino with Pulp Fiction, Paul Thomas Anderson with There Will Be Blood, and Fincher with maybe Fight Club, can touch some of the greatest films of all time. No Country for Old Men is not one of the greatest films of all time. There Will Be Blood, I can make an argument for it being one of the greatest films of all time. So for me, it's not even close. It's not even close. Like there we go. There Will Be Blood is here, and No Country for Old Men is like here. Like there's such a huge gap between the two. But again, film is all about subjectivity, isn't it? So, but honestly speaking, me being as objective as possible, it's not even one of my favorite films, but it's definitely like one of the greatest films ever made. And No Country for Old Men is not. It's not even one of the best. It's one of the best Coen brothers films, but it's not their best film, in my opinion. I think Fargo, Miller's Crossing is maybe better than that as well. So yeah, but hey, we can debate. Ocean's 11, Martyrs is better than There Will Be Blood. What is Martyrs, the Underdome? Let me know. The Room is a fantastic piece of filmmaking. Brokeback Mountain, Ang Lee, Kill Bill is fun. Edgar Wright's trilogy is good. I'm not a huge fan. I like them, but I'm not like, they're not for me the greatest. The Royal Tenenbaums is one of his best films. Unbreakable, yep, it's a really good film. Tenenbaums is good. Pan's Labyrinth is good. Hello Gagnon again. Tioko Zankoko Kisatsu. What is that? Sounds like a magic spell from Harry Potter. If that's a film, let me know what name. Well, let me know what year that film's from. Because wow, 300. So I've got a few videos where I diss Zack Snyder because I think he's gone off the rails completely. But 300 is actually a really good film. And I was having a debate with someone on one of my videos, and they said that Mad Max, what's the one with Charlize Theron? Road Warrior, no, Fury Road is better than 300. I think 300 is better than Fury Road. What do you guys think? Do you think that Fury Road is better than 300? I think 300 is better, just more succinct and more tight. And the filmmaking, strangely enough, is actually better. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of Zack Snyder. Lanthimos's Dogtooth is a wonderful film. Totally agree. Pirates of the Caribbean is good. The first two are good. Old Boy, Memories of a Murder. Wow. Munich. Maybe Spielberg's last great movie. Ooh. I'm trying to think. Ooh. Is that true? Let me starve that. I'll come back to that. It might be true. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Wow, what a film, Liam. Children of Men is just... Ooh. Mwah. In fact, Vitaphone. You know what, Vitaphone? That is definitely deserving. I know someone else said it before, but me and Vitaphone, we agree. We're like brothers. We agree on things and we also argue on things. So I think he deserved that moment. Inception is beautiful. My favorite Christopher Nolan film. Memories of a Murder is just... Ooh, NL. Oh, NL. Oh, God, NL. Oh, dearie me.
You get your fucking hands off me.
NL. What are you saying? What are you saying? That's what I think of your statement, NL. What the heck? Oh, guys, this is lovely. Look at this. In fact, let me do a little poll for this. do a little sneaky poll, because first of all, guys, hit the like button. Thank you very much. Would appreciate that. Because I'm going to end that poll now. I'm going to start a new poll, which is better, 300 or Fury Road? And I want to see what you guys think. There we go. Okay, cool. Right, some more names. Castaway is good. Mulholland Drive is wonderful. Oh my God, Dan, fan, bloody-tastic. Hunger is a wonderful film. I don't know if Shame was in the same year or same decade. I don't think it was, though. Maybe it was. No, it wasn't. Paid in Full. Is that the... You've mentioned this before, Jay. You've mentioned it, but you asked me, have I seen it? And I've not. Is that the one with a rapper? You said it wasn't last time. Remind me. In Bruges, wonderful film. Into the Wild. So Into the Wild, in my opinion, is very overrated, but yeah. Eastern Promises. And now always being hard on films. He is. He's gone in hard on those. I do. Memories of a Murder. I ran out of great things to say about it. It's just so good. Just the filmmaking. It's going to bring a tear to my eye in a minute. Just wow. Suburban Sasquatch. I've seen some clips from that film. It's fucking hilarious. I've actually gagged now. This is one of the films that I have kind of seen. I saw it on Red Letter Media. Fucking hilarious film. Darjeeling Limited, which is just Wes Anderson just spunking on everyone's faces. 300 Any Day. Yeah, jump in the poll. Have a little watch. Watchmen. Gamer, are you saying it's good? Because when I first saw it, I thought it was the best film I've ever seen. And then I saw it again. I was like, this is trash. But hey, The Wrestler. Oh my God. Great film. Oh my God. Shane was 2011. Wow, you guys are so far ahead of me right now. Pianist. I love the film. I don't like the director, I must say, but I like the film. City of God. Yeah. Great. Epic Decade. 2008 was my favorite year for films ever. Requiem for a Dream is a PSA. Game of it. I'm so glad that you stayed on, because your comments on my videos are just hilarious. And I'm like, what is this guy smoking? But you always make great points. So yeah, I love Requiem for a Dream. I think it's definitely his best film, but I understand why you say that. Adaptation is a brilliant. Nicolas Cage's maybe second best performance. Amazing stuff. NL, really? NL. What are you doing to me? I was going to give you one of these, but... You don't deserve it. You don't deserve that. Prestige, City of... Sin City, I liked it back then. Sin City is still great. Watch it now. It's still great. Unite, oh my God, that film. So I don't like flying. I hate flying. When I get on a plane, I always try and get the seat next to the window because I can look at the wing and just make sure the wing's still there. So I absolutely hate flying. And when I watch I've only seen United 93 once. I will never watch it again because throughout the whole film, I was clasping onto my. I think I watched it in my bedroom. Clasping onto bedroom, pause, and on the bed, and I was sweating buckets. Great film. Great film. NL, it's not, is it? It's not. It's definitely not his best film. Come on. I would even say, is it The Fountain that he made? I forgot what it's called. I think it is called The Fountain. I think that's better than Pi as well. Pi's a good film. It's a good low budget film, but it's not anywhere near. It's not even better than The Wrestler or Black Swan. But it's a good film. 8mm with Nicolas Cage. Classic film. I saw someone killing a vampire with a fork. Let me see if that's relevant to anything. I can't say that I've seen that, but it sounds amazing. Catch Me If You Can. Moon, Requiem for a Dream, Requiem. We did that already. Pie over Requiem. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Jay. Finally, Jay. Finally. I've been waiting for so long to do this. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. The Fountain is simply amazing. Okay, Game of It, we agree on the film. It is amazing. It's not, it's just, it's, I said this about a film earlier on. It's very psychedelic. I said it about Vertigo. It's very psychedelic. If you stick with it, you get some really good rewards. 8mm, 1999. It's also crap. $1 Million Baby, Mystic River, The Changeling, and Gran Torino. All Clint Eastwood films. He looks so old nowadays, guys. If you've not seen him lately, he looks so old. Like super old. Yeah, the CG wasn't good. Totally agree. It was very, very, very gripping, very engaging, and it puts you in the shoes of Hugh Jackman especially, and really makes you feel for his journey and his wants and his needs. The Mist, which is a Stephen King book. I think the film was made by Frank Darabont. I think. Fountain was super underrated. Totally agree. Sunshine, not a big fan of that film. Danny Boyle, not a big fan, but it's okay, I guess. Memento, yeah, fantastic, bloody fantastic. For horror fans, the first Saw 1's great. On Sundays, Recetas. You said the magic word. That is the magic word. I absolutely love that film. I said it before. It's 100% Denis Villeneuve's best film. 1,000,000% his best film. By far as well. By some distance. Dogville. I actually like Dogville. Actually really like Dogville. Very good film. And Donnie Darko. Not a huge fan. Clint Eastwood recently directed something and he's 90-something. Yeah. He looks 90-something now. The Mist is in color is terrible. Black and white director's cut is all right. Right, I'm done with the 2000s. Boring. Let's move on to the 2010s, which is the last decade. Because I didn't print out any other decade, so I'm just going to have to say the films from 2020 onwards. But we can't really count 2020 onwards because it's not finished. So we're going to stop at the 2010s. Parasite. Let me get this. Okay, Parasite, Inception, so Inception is technically this decade. Mad Max Fury Road, Get Out, and The Social Network. So if you don't know anything about my channel, if you just jumped on, maybe you've seen some of my videos, you're not really seeing my opinion on films. I'm not the biggest Jordan Peele fan. I think he's okay. He's just overrated. And I'm not a huge Get Out fan. I think it's okay and overrated. So yeah, but it's on the list. Social Network is masterpiece filmmaking, masterpiece screenwriting, masterpiece acting, masterpiece music, masterpiece everything. Incredible stuff. Mad Max, we just spoke about that. In fact, we have a little poll going. Let me see. Fury Road is winning that by some distance. So I guess you guys are not big fans of 300. We also have Inception, which is my favorite. Definitely my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I don't know if it's his best, but it's definitely my favorite Christopher Nolan film. And then we have Parasite, which is good. Right. What else do you guys got? Martyrs again. What is this Martyrs thing? What is it? What is it? Tinker, I hate this film. I fell asleep so many times in this film. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Bloody hate it. Recetas, Get Out. So I just want to say, yeah, Kenny, this is exactly what I was going to say. James, big love. Kenny, this is exactly what I was going to say. So I would eliminate this decade straight away. There's so much crap in this decade. I would say worse than the 80s, because in the 80s it's forgivable because people were experimenting and they had, massive cameras and the special effects weren't good. I can forgive the 80s to a degree. I can't defend what I've seen in the 2010s. Ghostbusters 2016. I actually like Captain Marvel. Last Jedi, do not like. Rise of Skywalker. There's so many. The Mummy, the Tom Cruise Mummy. In fact, we forgot the Mummy, the original one in 1999. But there's so much trash in this decade. Honestly, so much. Like, it's terrible. Agree on Get Out. Yeah, I don't think it's that great, to be honest with you. Get Out. Is that NL? Finally, we agree on something. Finally. Here we go. There we go. Arrival. Yeah, Skyfall is good as well. Rositas, The Wolf of Wall Street, yeah, Interstellar, amazing. Dunkirk, amazing. I really grew to love Tinker Tailor Soldier. A few of you, I'm not watching that. I'm not watching it a few times. I could barely watch it one time. I'm not watching it a few times. It had a chance and it ruined it. There's a film by Brazilian director who directed City of God. The Constant Gardener was called. It's Rachel Weisz and Ralph Fiennes. So it's Ralph. And it's an incredible film. And it's by the same author. I prefer that. Arrival, Nocturnal Animals. Didn't like Nocturnal Animals, I must say. I'm not going to lie. Blade Runner 2049. Not the biggest fan, but I understand why people like it. First Reformed is fucking amazing. Ethan Hawke. Come on. Amazing. Her is fantastic. Whiplash, Moonlight. Good Time's fantastic. Three Billboards. Don't like Three Billboards at all. Gone Girl is brilliant. Grand Budapest Hotel is by far Wes Anderson's best film, live action film. I don't like The Mummy 19. What? What?
You get your fucking hands off me.
Ray, what's going on with you now? What's happening? Like, I think COVID's going around in this in the chat because you guys have gone mad. What do you mean you don't like Mummy 1999 with Brendan Fraser? And again, Rachel Weisz. What? Prisoners is brilliant. Interstellar, The House That Jack Built. I've not seen it, but I know what it is. Hello, Dewey. Hello, Dewey. I think Mad. Howell's Castle and Ponyo. Enemy is I don't like Enemy. Moneyball. Is that the Jason? Is that the shit one? Is that the shit one? Nightcrawler's good. Under the Skin, overrated. Don't like it. Sorry. Kenny? What? Wait. Kenny, are you referring to the original Mummy in 1999 with Brendan Fraser, or are you referring to the Omar as well? Whoa! What's happening here, guys? Are you talking about the 1999 one with Brendan Fraser? Or are you talking about the shit one with Tom Cruise? What's happening here? Hereditary is a wonderful film. Wonderful. Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, Winter Sleep, The Wild Pear Tree. Right, so in a minute, guys, The Mummy is shit. Oh, I'm sorry. What is happening? What?
Hi, handsomes. Do I sense a certain hostility on your parts? Oh, dear. Well, if there is to be violence, I feel it's only fair to warn you that I'm a certified ninja and a kung fu expert.
What's going on?
Sorry if I hurt you. Number one, I hate violence. Number two, if only people would learn to talk out their problems, we could all live happily ever after.
That's me with the chat right now. What's happening here? What is Oh my God. They are. Cohen, they are. I'm hoping you're going to jump. So I was the main guy there. I'm a certified ninja, apparently. And Cohen, you need to be in the background in the bikini, just standing watching on, because what's happening? The Mummy is trash. Is that what you guys think? The Mummy is trash. What? Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That clip was better than the Mummy. Oh my God. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. Yeah, Titro, it is. It's just so good. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's just, I mean, everyone in here who's saying that the Mummy is trash, but then defending the 80s is mad, because 1999, the Mummy is just fun. It's so bloody good. What the F? So Cohen, in the UK, you're not allowed to use the term fruity. It's politically incorrect. So it's not allowed. Manchester by Sea, amazing film. Casey Affleck, I called it years ago after I saw Assassination of Jesse James. I was like, this guy's going to win an Oscar one day. And he did. And he's got a new film coming out with Matt Damon, which looks fun on Apple. I don't think it's going to be very good, but he kind of got cancelled for a while after winning the Oscar for some shit that he did in a bedroom. Are you guys hating on because you love Indiana Jones so much? No lie, I think The Mummy, and the chat can hate me here, I think The Mummy is just as fun as Indiana Jones 2 and Indiana Jones 4. In fact, I'd say it's better than Indiana Jones 2 and Indiana Jones 4. And oh dear. The Wailing is a great horror film. Let me stop talking about The Mummy. Oh God, I'm going to get that off screen. Vitaphone, you're going to definitely get me cancelled. I do not, for everyone watching, the terms being used on the chat, I do not agree with. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Casey is a powerhouse. Yes, he is. He's amazing. Handmaiden is fantastic. Hello, Pascal. How you doing? How was your date? Tell us in the chat. How was your date out of 10? Was it a 9? Was it 10? I mean, the fact that you've come back onto the chat after a date suggests that it wasn't a 10. Next time. Was it a first date? Was it a second date? Talk to me. The Wailing is so good. I agree with that. The Mummy Returns is a fucking master. Godzilla, The Mummy Returns is an effing masterpiece. So is number 1. Yes, Cohen, I totally agree. I think it's funnier. It's funnier than Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is kind of funny, but not really. Whereas The Mummy's just fun and funny. Temple wipes the floor with any mummy. What's Temple? Is that a game? Inside Llewellyn Davis, don't like that film, never have. Phantom Thread, don't like that film, never have. The Master is okay. Drive's good. Do watch the original Mummy with Boris Karloff. Descendants. Oh, it is a Alexander Payne film, that is. It's a good film. I Am Not There by a Scottish director whose name I forget, but it's got Joaquin Phoenix. Yes, Indiana Jones 2 is not great. It's a good film. It's fun, but it's not great. The Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, you guys are undefeated. Love you guys so much. 9 out of 10. Pascal, who the F did you meet that would want to go and see The Third Man? Because that is wifed or husband. Whatever, if you went out with a man, woman, non-binary, whatever, that person needs to be married immediately. Anyone who has the film nounce to want to watch that film, I don't particularly like it, but if a woman said to me, let's watch The Third Man, I'd be like, here's the ring. Here's the ring. You're done. I know Zendaya wants me. I know Amy Adams wants me, but you are the one. There you go. There's your ring. Bang. Shiny ring. Not too expensive, but there'll be a ring, and put it on your finger. We're getting married. Because that is, wow. You found a catch there. Sicario, Inherent Vice is fucking shite. Sorry for my language, everyone. Active Killing, seen that. Very good documentary. Very, very good documentary. Scorpion King is fucking terrible. Noticed that no one mentioned any Spielberg film of this movie. Proved that Munich was his last great movie. Recitas, you might have a point there. I've starred that. We'll come back to that. Pascal, don't worry. She knows more about film than I do. That's to me, that's wife material. That's wife material. I've never met a woman who knows more about film than I do. They normally know more about the Kardashians than I do, which is worrying. No, it's not worrying. It's worrying about the fact that they don't know about film, which is probably why I've never been married, because I'm just looking for the one who knows about film. The Turin Horse, I've heard of that. Inception, On Sundays, Prisoners, Interstellar, Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner, Dunkirk, Dune, Oppenheimer, Dune 2. All those films have a very, very, they've got a very reoccurring theme to them, don't they? Climax is fucking incredible. Sorry for my language tonight, guys. I get the one-shot technique is a bit of a gimmick. 1917 it's a very one gimmick film, unfortunately, Liam, but it's a good film. It's an entertaining film. Spielberg, Minority Report was good, but Munich was after Minority Report, if I'm not incorrect. I think Munich was like 2008, maybe 2005. Can't remember. Munich was good. Munich was very good, NL. It was very good. At least you met females. I mean, guys, anyone's welcome in here. I don't care who you meet. It's none of my business. I'm not the one going home with the person, so I don't care who you met up with. Guys, you can meet up with anyone. It's not that kind of a chat. Not that kind of a world as well. Suburban film joke. Little Miss Sunshine. Yes, nice film. Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War. Iron Man. That was in the last decade, though. Civil War, Winter Soldier. There's so many. Right. I'm pretty content that we've gone through all the. We're not doing the 2020s because they're not finished yet. But I'm pretty content that we've gone through this whole thing, and I'm very happy that we can now start making some decisions, guys. White Noise, totally agree. It's been epic. You guys are just tremendous. Okay, cool. La La Land, Es Machina, Under the Skin. Don't like Under the Skin. Think it's trash. Lighthouse, yep, terrific. What do you think about The Room, 2015? So here's the thing. The Marvel. So I've not seen the Marvels. I've seen the other Marvel film with Brie Larson. Before she became Miss Marvel, she won an Oscar for The Room in 2015. And whether she deserves it or not is irrelevant, but she is a good actress. And then she said some very silly things, and everyone hated her. But I got to say, I am a Brie Larson fan. I am a fan. I think she's very, apart from saying that stupid thing, she's been very consistent with her acting and with her talent, and she has tried to make amends for the stuff that she said. I'm a Larson fan. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a fun film. Well, let's say fun. Very long, a bit boring sometimes, but it's good. 21 Jump Street is good. So is the sequel. The sequel's good as well. I'm Keller, Ashley, Turbo Kid. I've heard of Turbo Kid. Illuminati 2, Primal, Manborg, Jailbait, The Evil Within. Did you like the movie? Is that for me, Pascal? Yeah, I did. All right. So my problem with The Room is that it's really good for about an hour, and I don't want to give away what happens. But after something happens, the film is extremely boring. Extremely boring after that thing happens. Who cares what an actor says in the private or public life? So Titro, unfortunately, what she said in public was very offensive to men of a certain color, and I felt was unwarranted. And it's stupid because her audience is predominantly those people. Stupid thing to say, and she made a huge mistake, but she has tried to make amends for it ever since. And she is a great actress. She's a great actress, not good as Captain Marvel, nor the press that she's done since. Yeah, totally agree with you, Vitaphone. Totally agree with you. I think I didn't mind her in the first Captain Marvel film. I didn't mind her at all. I didn't think she was a problem at all. I just think the film was the problem, not her. And if they had made a better film, she would have been better in it. I honestly can't think of any single movie other than The Call of Freedom that was actually good. I tried so many that all sucked so hard. Garbage writing, terrible actors. Oh dear. Brie Larson is bad in the Marvels. I've not seen it, so I won't comment. But I mean, the film's bad as well. Don John, the directorial debut of what's his name? Guy from Inception, and also from Looper. His directorial debut. Kind of fell asleep during that film, not gonna lie. Sound of Freedom is okay. The Raider Short Term, which has Brie Larson. You were lagging for, oh, dearie me, was I? Oh dear. Is it okay now, Godzilla? Let me know. Safety Not Guaranteed, that is a good film. It's a good film. Right. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that's it. Rosita, you've got another great question. I'm going to star that. I'll come back to it towards the end. The Raid is one of the best action movies ever made. Totally agree. Absolutely. Raid 2 is not as good, but it's still fun. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that is the one. Guys, I'm going to put, whilst I'm making a poll, I'm going to get you a video to watch to keep you entertained. And I'm going to make a little poll, and we're going to choose the best film or the best decade ever. But before we do, no, not before we do that, let me just play this for you guys.
Look out, he's got a gun. Jade, how bad you hit?
I've been better, but I'll live.
Let's get that turkey.
The bazooka, Rowdy?
It's the only gun I can hit a moving target with.
Right. Incredible filmmaking by incredible filmmakers. Right, guys. We are going to do a poll. So in the chat now, there is a poll, best decade. The way we're going to do this is I can't put all the decades in, unfortunately. So let's have a little shootout between the 50s, 60s, 70s. Then we'll do a shootout between the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And then we'll do, because I'm not going to do 2010s. I just don't think they're going to win. And then we'll do a shootout of those two and see who wins. And in the meantime, I can answer some questions and stuff. So, NL, the Raid 2 is... So Gareth Evans, the director of the Raid films, is a wonderful action director and a bit of a pioneer in that sense, because he kind of started that movement of filmmaking. If you watch a film like Dredd, it's very much influenced by the Raid. Even like John Wick and stuff is basically influenced by the Raid. So incredible filmmaker, British filmmaker. His kryptonite, his Achilles heel is writing. He's not a great writer. And I say that based on the films that I've seen since The Raid. So The Raid is a very simple premise. He was going to make The Raid 2 first, but he didn't have the budget. So he made Raid 1 instead, which is the prequel. It's basically the prequel to Raid 2. And the reason why the Raid 1 is better is because the script is so simplistic because he had no money. So he just went, okay, let's have a building. He goes up to the top of the building, he has a fight, and comes back down. That's why the film's so good. Raid 2 is what happens when he's let loose with a script. And the script is awful. It's convoluted. The film's too long. And he's trying to get like an Oscar-winning performance out of his lead action star. And he struggles because he's not an actor. And it doesn't work. And the film goes around in circles, and there's so many characters in it that don't need to be there. So I don't think the Raid 2 is better. I think the Raid 2 is worse. And that's not to say Raid 2 is not good. It's just not as good as the Raid. And again, very subjective. The Apostle. I have seen that, I think. Yeah, it is. It's just riffing off the Raid. Right. You guys made some lovely points earlier on. Gagnan said, I'm only here. And he said, watch Slay, 2024. So, Gagnan, tell me a bit more about Slay. When you can guess who and how, why, first steps of being a film connoisseur. So, Gagnan, I think you're asking me, why did I become a film connoisseur and what was my first step? So, I'll make it super brief. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a kid, and then got to 16, still didn't know what I wanted to do as a kid. And then one night I saw The Godfather on TV, and it was in the UK. We have daylight saving, which is when the clocks go back and forwards. And it was the film came on. It was like at midnight, started, and I was very lost. I was very lost as a kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was very depressed, and this film came on TV, and it just changed my life. When it finished, and the credits were rolling, I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be a writer for sure, and maybe a filmmaker. And then I've kind of just learned film myself by reading books and watching films and learning behind the scenes stuff from watching stuff on YouTube and on DVDs and stuff. And then made my first film in 2016. And then since then I've made 5 films, produced one other film, got another film that I wrote and produced, going to a film festival end of the month, going to be at the BFI in the UK. So if anyone's in the UK, they want to watch it, it's going to be at the BFI, which is the British Film Institute, which is basically amazing. So really proud of that. And I just love film, and I love analyzing film. And because I'm a director myself, when I see directors doing certain things, I know why they do it. And then when I don't understand why they've done things, I have to question it. So hope that answers your question. Right. So Vitaphone, you had a bunch of figures and facts from 1990. I want to see all of this in one go. Okay, here we go. So in the 1920s, we had 3.1 billion. 1930s, we had 7.5 billion. 1940s, we had 13.9 billion. 1950s, we had 19.6 billion. 1960s, we had 23.2 billion. 1970s, we had 27.8 billion. So it's going up every time. 1980s, we had 35.2 billion. 1990s, we had 33.8 billion. And then 2000, we had 9.4 billion. And just for inflation, 36. So did it go up again? Yes, it did. And I think, Vitaphone, I'm missing the last couple of decades. But so if you put it in the chat, I'll have a quick look. Kerwin, has any director ever owned an entire decade, like dominated the box office and influenced the industry? So there's been, the best example would probably be, I would say, 70s Francis Ford Coppola with Godfather 1, Godfather 2, The Conversation, Apocalypse Now. The best decade for any director ever, by far. And then I would say Spielberg in the 80s, more than the 90s, totally for blockbusters, dominated, cleaned up. Indiana Jones, E.T., I think there's one more in there as well, just absolutely cleaned up. Maybe even in the 90s for Spielberg as well. But I would say Francis Ford Coppola, 1970, when he won an Oscar for Platoon, all the way up to 1979, when he made Apocalypse Now. There's never been a decade like that for a director, ever. Recitas, so you said Spielberg's last masterpiece might be Munich. So let me Google that. And whilst I Google that, I'm also going to have a quick look at the poll. I think we have a clear and decisive winner. We have the 70s winning out just excellently with 73%, 72%, and 22 votes. Right, guys, so I'm going to do another poll now. I'm going to do, this might actually just end everything because this is going to be the 70s, 80s, 90s, and that's all I can do. And then we'll do one last poll. Right. Start voting. In the meantime, I'm going to Google Steven Spielberg, see his filmography, and then maybe even get it on screen. Right. So, yeah, so Munich is definitely one of his best films, for sure. Well, one of his best modern day films, for sure. I don't think it's in his top 10, probably. There we go. So this is his filmography. You can't see that. So let me just zoom in on that a little bit. Right. So in 2004, 2002, we had Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, 2004, The Terminal, which I've never seen, War of the Worlds, and Munich came out in the same year. After that, it was a bit rough for Spielberg. We had Lincoln, which won some Oscars, Bridge of Spies, which I think is a very underrated film. I really enjoyed that. I loved The Post as well. I also liked Ready Player One, but you can see his output is quite slow because, you know, he's older. He's an older man now. But in the 70s and 80s and 90s, he had loads of films, and even in the 2000s, he had loads of films. But he slowed down quite considerably in the 2010s and 20s. So, Rositas, I make you right. I think Munich is his best film since 2005. I make you right. We have as well noticed. Yep. So yeah, you're right, Rositas. My decade's the 80s, 2050s for Jay. Marcus, I have a question. I particularly like gore movies. I really can't stand them. Do you consider Bone Tomahawk gore? Yes, I do. I want to see it, but I heard that there is one scene that, not just one scene, there's about 4 scenes that are really, really brutal, like epically brutal, like disgusting. And it's nothing to do with what you see. It's more about what you hear, like the sounds. It's scary. If you don't like gory movies, don't watch it. But I don't like horror movies, not because I'm scared of them. I just think they're really boring. But I would definitely recommend Hereditary and definitely recommend Bone Tomahawk if you don't like horror movies, just to kind of get you into it. Right. League of Gentlemen. 70s. Glad my accidental vote 50 doesn't matter. What's going on with the voting right now? I think we are going to have less of. Oh, we are going to have. Okay, the 70s are winning. The 80s are not winning, as I thought they wouldn't. The 90s are second. So, guys, if you haven't voted yet, there's only 17 votes. The 80s right now are going to lose. And they're not going to go through to the grand final, which is going to be between the 70s. I'm going to put the 70s and maybe the 60s. Oh, no. Should I put the 90s? We'll see in a minute. Godzilla, I'm going to star your question. I'll come back to it. And NL, I don't think you are. I think other people probably have seen it as well. I've seen it. Okay, so I'm trying to approach it fairly. I looked at my top 100 favorite films and counted. Surprisingly, the 2000s took top spot, followed by the 90s. But NL, that's probably to do with the fact that you've not seen many films from the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s. So I wouldn't trust that if I was you. I voted twice for the 90s. Wow, that's cheating. Please don't let the 90s win over the 70s. Right now, the 80s are getting, 90s and 70s are drawing. They are drawing. And I love that movie. I mean, Monique was great. Bridge of Spies is really good. It is really good. Liam, my favorite filmmaker. Ooh, that's a magnificent question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. Ooh, that's a great question. Oh, no. You got me stumped. I think Scorsese is my favorite. Maybe closely followed by Fincher. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I think it's definitely going to be Scorsese. Vote 70. So 70s and 90s are neck and neck. If we've only got 18 votes though, so guys, if you're watching this, please hit the like button, but also vote for the poll in the stream where we've got only 18 votes. I know we can give more than that. That's like half of you. Jump in there, vote, and let's see who wins. Where did you get that idea from? I haven't. Okay. Do you have a favorite screenwriter more specifically? I did used to love Charlie Kaufman. Like that, if you asked me that question maybe 10 years ago, I would have said Charlie Kaufman straight away. I would say I do love Aaron Sorkin. I do love Tarantino. I know he doesn't get much love in this chat, but I do love Tarantino. He does some amazing things with dialogue, especially. And then also someone like Billy Wilder, who, if you guys don't know who that is, he made Sunset Boulevard, he made Double Indemnity, he made The Apartment. He writes some of the best dialogue ever. So yeah, Billy Wilder's up there. And then Paddy Chevalievsky, who did Network, is also a tremendous writer. Sagnick, tell them about Stanny the Goat, Marcus. What do you mean by that, Sagnick? Stanny the Goat. Do you mean Stanley Kubrick? I wouldn't say he's my favorite filmmaker, but I'd say he's definitely one of the best. And of course, we did the tier list, and he came out as the best, voted by you guys, not by me. Must caveat that. Who's my favorite actresses and actors? Love this question. Love these questions, guys. And I think it's Dow. Is it Dow? Dow, have a lovely night. Favorite actor ever is Al Pacino. My favorite actor ever is Al Pacino. He's not the best actor ever. I think Robert De Niro pips him to that. An actress is definitely going to be Isabelle Huber, who's a French actress. Or maybe Amy Adams. Maybe Amy Adams. Dan, I flipping love plays. I love them. I love musicals. I love plays. I've seen nearly all the musicals in the West End. Well, the West End is like, if you're not from England, the West End's like Broadway in America. If you're not from America, then it's like it's a central part of London where they have all the massive musicals. And then plays. I don't see many plays, but I saw an amazing play called Blue Orange. I was so young, and it had Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead. It had it had the guy from 12 Years a Slave, Chittiwell Ejiofor, and it had Bill Nighy. So Bill Nighy, Andrew Lincoln, and Chittiwell Ejiofor. And I saw that, and I was super young. And at the time, Chittiwell Ejiofor wasn't famous yet. That was one of the first things he did. Andrew Lincoln had just finished a TV show called This Life, and I think it was just before he did that Love Actually film. And then Bill Nighy was kind of on the up. So I kind of got lucky when I saw those guys. It was amazing play. Network is a good film. It's a great film. Tarantino is perhaps my favorite filmmaker. Billy Wilder and Robert Altman are also up there. People should talk about Altman more. Yeah, I'm very guilty of not exploring his films enough and also not talking about him enough. Robert Altman, even when he was alive, it was kind of, he wasn't shunned per se, but he was definitely not seen as one of the great filmmakers, even when he was alive. But, you know, if you talk to Paul Thomas Anderson, he will say that that's one of his biggest inspirations. If you strip it down to only film, Spielberg directed 9.33 billion, but Cameron doesn't have anywhere near that volume. Oh, this is a very interesting debate. Can I have the first end of that debate, Vitaphone? Or maybe you're just making a statement, but can I have more context? That is amazing. I want to talk about that. Definitely Amy Adams. Love her. Zendaya, housewife. Amy Adams, housemaid. I'm kidding. If anyone's on the stream and offended by that, I'm kidding. Cameron only misses our Terminator. So Vitaphone, give me some more. That's a great subject. Would you rather not be able to see films anymore or rather not be able to hear films anymore? Oh, love that. Going to star that. Come back to it. Altman, McCabe, I've not seen that one. So I'm saying I'm really guilty of, really guilty. I'm guilty. Bone Tomahawk's violence is very brutal. I can't stand too much violence. It is brutal. I wouldn't watch it. If you don't like it, I wouldn't watch it. It's very, very brutal. What do you think about his films? He has such a unique style. What do you think about Gosford Park? Gosford Park, I only watched last year for the first time, and it's flipping brilliant. Flipping brilliant film. It's got Clive Owen, I think. And I'm a huge Clive Owen fan. Great film. And if you watch The Player, amazing film. The Player is an amazing film. And what else has he done? He did... Maybe someone can help me out here. He did a film in the late 70s that's really long. And it's about everyone going to this festival. Really good film. Really, really good film. Thank you very much for that, Vitaphone. The question about any directors that had unbeatable runs, Cameron. I see. For money, yes. But Vitaphone, I wouldn't say that Cameron's run in the 80s is better than Coppola's run in the 70s. No chance. Because Godfather 1 is maybe the greatest film ever. Godfather 2 is maybe the greatest film ever. The Conversation is definitely in the conversation as one of the best films ever, no pun intended. Apocalypse Now is maybe the greatest film ever as well. And he made those 4 films in a row. And I can't sit here in good faith and say that Terminator 1 and Aliens and At the Abyss and Terminator 2 are the greatest films of all time. But financially speaking, yeah, they absolutely had some magnificent. The Long Goodbye, I've seen that. Good film. It's what Inherent Vice is based on, the Raymond Chandler books. And Inherent Vice is terrible. Who's better between Denise and Nolan? Love that. Star in that. Coming back to that in a minute. Shakes my head, Marcus, talking down to me when you haven't seen the 70s, basics like the game. Pascal, thank you very much. That's at Nashville. It's got Jeff Goldblum in it. It's a meandering film. It's so good though, because what Robert Altman used to do was he would just mic up. So what on a film set, and I'm maybe preaching to the converted here, but on a film set, what you normally do is you mic up the actors who are talking. So say, for example, you've got a scene with Amy Adams and Zendaya, you mic them up. So you put a radio mic on them, and then you have a boom mic on them as well. So you've got 2 sets of audio, and you let everyone pretend they're talking. So everyone who's background extra or supporting artist will just be in the background and pretend to talk. What Robert Altman used to do was he'd mic up everyone, and then he would sometimes go into a conversation that's happening on another table that's not even between the 2 main characters. And it's just incredible filmmaking. Honestly, it's just amazing filmmaking. Mind-blowing filmmaking. Very innovative. You guys are funny. You guys are very funny. Very funny. Okay, cool. So, Godzilla, what's your question, by the way? Nolan's made more films, but Dennis is nearly perfect. Let me start those. I'll come back to that. And yes, by the way, Godzilla, the Serbian question film, I've got that. I thought I started, but I didn't, but I've started now, so we'll come back to that. Right, so best decade, we've got a draw, 21 votes, 70, 38 for 70s, 38 for 90s. I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to do a new poll with the 70s. The 70s and the 90s, and I can see the other poll, and maybe the 50s. No, what I'll do 2 more polls. I'll do 2 more polls. I'll do the 80s, I'll do the 50s, and I will do the 2000s. There we go. And then we'll have one last poll at the end with the 70s, the 90s, and the winner of this one. And in the meantime, I'll answer some more questions. Right. Here we go. Marcus, are you still going to bring up the article that I sent a certain someone predicting on your live stream a few weeks ago? Do you know what, Vitaphone? I might do that in a bit. Nashville might be one of the greatest films, in my honest opinion. At least one of the best. Yeah, Lily Tomlin is wonderful in that film. And Jeff Goldblum, it's a bunch of amazing performances. Let's settle the draw. We will definitely do that. Macabre is well known amongst film people. Yeah, yes, and NL is. So here's the thing, NL. I've said this before. I don't just dip in and out of filmmakers. I try and explore the whole portfolio of filmmaking in one go. And Altman is someone who I've kind of dipped in and out of over the years since I was a child. And I've never really explored all these films in one go. And I need to do that. I haven't still watched any films of the Russian director whose name escapes me. And I've not watched any of Pedro Almodovar's films. There's so many other filmmakers that I need to watch, like Fellini as well. I need to watch all of his films. So, yeah, I'm lacking in that area. But yeah, 90s, hands down. Hello, Frank Castle. Bit scared of that name. I thought you were going, Dowell. You're still here. Love it. Amel Phrase, Herzog, Back Lieutenant could be both good, bad and good. Totally agree. I didn't like Sicario. Don't think it is bad, but I get bored watching it. Recitas, Sicario is good. Jay, totally agree. You guys have made this stream incredible. It's been an amazing, amazing stream. Could you hit the like button for me? Could you share it with your friends? Get them to come in. If you know other filmmakers, get them to come in. Let's pause, big pause on those ones. Never come in. But you know what I mean. Right. Tarkovsky. I've not watched Sergei Einstein's films either. So many filmmakers I've not watched. I've watched majority of filmmakers, but not all of them. I'm just lacking those ones, and then I've kind of completed film. So there you go. Dan Linden, who's your favorite indie filmmaker? Who inspired you most when you're writing your own? So my favorite indie filmmaker or filmmakers. Ooh, again, I'm definitely a child of the 90s. So when I was in my before my teens or just into my teens, like Tarantino, the Coen brothers, unfortunately Miramax with Harvey Weinstein, they were the rage. And of course, something like Reservoir Dogs, which was an indie film for £1 million, which is a lot of money, by the way. Kind of, back in the day, you could make a film like Reservoir Dogs and become the biggest filmmaker in the world. Nowadays, you can't do that. But definitely Tarantino, Danny Boyle, Spike Lee were, for me, they were the ones. Okay. NL, that's a dumb approach. I binge it all at once, or I won't watch it all. I know everything about this director, or I remain wholly ignorant to one, period. Come on. So let me give you a bit of context, NL. First of all, I only watch films maybe twice a week. So today I didn't even watch a film. Today, has anyone seen The Boys? And have you seen the recent series? So I started watching episode 1 yesterday. I watched episode 2 today. And sometimes I don't want to watch a film. So tomorrow I'm going to watch a film. I'm going to watch Hitman. And I'm not going to review it or anything. I might speak about it on the stream on Tuesday. But then I'm literally watching 2 films a week, maybe 1 film a week nowadays. I just haven't got the time. I have a full-time job. I own a company. I do videos on YouTube. I do the streams. Got a personal life as well. I just don't have time to watch 3-hour movies. And the only way I can actively pursue, you see, when I'm watching, for example, a bunch of Tarkovsky films, I know what kind of films he makes. They're very quaint. They're almost film poetry. I can't watch his film 1 week and then go and watch a blockbuster film like Godzilla the week after, and then the week after go back to him. I need to be in the mood. So I need to watch his films in a go. And the same with someone like Pedro Almodovar. Again, he makes a very specific kind of film. So I need to be watching his films in one go to kind of get the essence and the feeling of that filmmaker. Because if I go and watch a Spielberg film and then go and watch a Tarkovsky film and then go and watch a Robert Altman film, to me, that's jumbled up thinking. You should see my desk here. It's very clean. I'm a very precise person. Like, I don't let things kind of clutter my mindset and the way I work and the way I think. So that's the same way that I approach filmmaking, the same way I approach writing a script, same way I approach making a video. Very kind of clean cut, I don't like distractions getting in the way. So it's the same thing when how I approach film as well and watching film. Righty ho. Clark's, yeah, Kevin Smith was a big inspiration in the 90s. He was, in the sense of, not so much for his filmmaking, just the sense that he did really well, but that was about it. I enjoyed his films, but I wouldn't say he was an inspiration as a filmmaker. Right. I saw the first season of Boys that was trash. Binging is terrible, neurotically logical for attention. It's a terrible way to experience film and television. It's the dopamine chase for its content, not for art. Children of Men is very good. Boys is garbage, apparently. Marcus, I understand why you don't have time to see so many movies. Before I saw 5 films a day. It was, I've never been one to watch movies during the week. It's never been a thing. I just find it difficult. I like to just unwind and then watch a movie or film. Kubrick paints art. Tarkovsky writes poems. Yep, I've heard that before. And that's why I've not explored his films. I need to be in the right mindset. Larry Clark's Bully was a good one. I watched 2 or 3 movies, sometimes more per day. I can't do it. Honestly, can't do it. I don't have Letterboxd. I do have IMDb. So I'm not sure if I can share my IMDb, but I do have IMDb. Do you want to see it, Liam? I'll see if I can share it. Cohen, I have to be. So I told you guys before, I've got so in my day job, what I do is I get people into things like Dune 2. I've got people right now auditioning for the next Mission Impossible film. Got 3 people auditioning for the next Mission Impossible film, which is pretty cool. So this is what I do in my day job. And there's a lot of people I deal with. I've got about 300 clients that I deal with. So that is like from the minute I wake up at like 7 a.m. till midnight, I am working. And then in the weekend, I can write a video for YouTube. I can maybe edit it as well. And then obviously doing the streams as well. So I have to be very kind of I have to put things in little boxes. And that's kind of how I get so much done. Right. Pascal, you follow me on IMDb. Can you follow people on IMDb? I didn't know you could do that. The Boys is pretty good. Yeah, I like it. It does lean into the politics, but it does kind of take the piss out of the politics as well, which is the best way to do it. Was a discipline something your parents? No. So Cohen, as soon as I realized I wanted to make films, I was behind the curve. So by the time I decided that, I was like 16, 17, 18. So when I went to college, I was already like a year ahead of everyone else in that sense. So kind of in my whole life, like after I finished that, I went to get into a finance job. So I've always been older than people, like 1 year or 2 years older than people. So I've always felt like I'm kind of behind the curve in that sense. I've always had to kind of just make sure that I'm working really hard. And I didn't get very good grades at school because I wasn't focused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I've always felt like I'm kind of chasing up. So I've had to be very, very focused. Hello, Soaked. There is a lot of hours. My God. I am feeling it this week as well. Folks, how many of you go to cinema theater to see a movie? I used to go every single week. And then after seeing Doctor Strange 2, I just stopped going. I was like, I'm not spending any more money on trash. Anti-Star wasn't pretending to be Homelander. Dear. Name a film you've watched where you... RoboCop. I watched RoboCop at about 7 years old, 6 years old. Should never have watched that. My God. Wow. Cohen, yeah, it's easy. I mean, once you get into the rhythm of things, you can definitely find a methodology that works for you. Not everything's going to work. Not one way works for everyone. So find the one that works for you. The route that works for you might be doing the opposite. The route that works for you might be having clutter everywhere, having noise everywhere, doing many things at once, watching different directors at once. That might work for you. That doesn't work for me. So, there's a film called Whatever Works, a Woody Allen film starring Larry David. And I used the mentality in that film, which is whatever works. Whatever works is the right way to do something. RoboCop. At that age, yeah, my God. Like the early scene. If you've not seen the film, guys, there's a scene, it's about 5 minutes in, so it's not a spoiler. And the main guy is called Murphy, he's a cop, and he is crucified like Jesus Christ by these gang of hoodlums who have like shotguns and shit, and they're shooting him, and you can see his arms coming off and his head coming. It's disgusting. But as a 6-year-old, that certainly opened my eyes to the possibilities of the world. What's a famous film you admittedly still haven't seen? Loads. I've not seen Sound of Music, and according to NL, I've not seen many films, so I'm a bit of an idiot. So there's quite a few that I haven't seen, but I'd like to think I've seen most big films, and I know what years they came out and stuff like that. Like I said it before, I've got information in my brain that's useless. Marcus, one question: What do you think about talking about some of the best years in films on the stream sometime? Something that comes to mind for me is 1994. 1975, 1973, 1939, 2002, and especially 1999. Would love to do that sometime. Pascal, do you know what though? How am I going to do this? I will try and remember that, and I'll talk about it next time. Love Freaking and Winding Refn interview. I've not seen that, but I've heard about it. In the poll. Okay, in the poll. Let's go back to the poll. 80s and 50s are tied. 2000s are not tied. 2000s will be playing the 70s. Let me have a look. The 70s and the 90s. Am I right in saying that? I think I'm right in saying that. No. Yes, the 70s, the 90s, and the 2000s. That is going to be the next poll. If I have got that wrong, let me know, guys. But I think that's right. 2000s, 70s, and 90s. What's your least favorite movie? Not the one, the worst, but the one you hate the most. Ooh. Ooh. Dearie me. I don't know. Ooh. Right. I'm going to answer that. Don't worry. I will answer that. Just looking at this. Oh, NL, we agree on something. It was fun. When he shot the... Don't know if I can say that. And dipping my toe into editing. I recently started with Premiere Pro. Hope to offer some free services to any upcoming YouTubers while I learn the trade. Kerwin, so how I learned editing was the same way I learned Photoshop and the same way I learn anything. It's just unfortunately, I'm a bit of an idiot, which is why I've over my life done so many things. Like I've done club promotions. I've worked in finance for 6 years. I have managed a music artist. I've done so much. It's because I just go, well, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. I'm going to put loads of hours into it, and I'm going to see what happens. I think the old adage is 10,000 hours until you're an expert at something. So just keep editing things over and over and over and over in your spare time, over and over and over again, and you'll get good at it. Don't worry about that. Yeah, Woody Allen's fantastic, but we spoke about this before. RIP 2000. Okay, so I think who asked me about worst movies? I think it was you, Liam, was it? Can't remember, but worst movies. Damn, I don't know. I don't really keep a list of worst movies. I would say The Last Jedi, just for what it did and for how Rian Johnson was so brazen afterwards. I have to put it in there because it's not a badly made film. Like the technicals of the film are not too bad. And I like Rian Johnson, but just for what he did and he knew what he was doing, it's definitely, and the way that it's kind of trickled into society now and trickled into Star Wars now, definitely would say that it's up there for sure. You cannot deny Anna deserved her Oscar nomination. But I can. Honestly, I think she's a mid actress. I think she's mid as fuck. think she's a terrible actress. Come and See is a masterpiece from the 80s. Totally agree. Godzilla asked the question. Thank you, Omar. Thank you very much for that. Children of Men. So Children of Men is a fantastic bloody film. I think I've said this before in the stream. One of my guilty pleasures when Clive Owen was really at the height of his powers was watching his movies. And he made some crap ones. But he had Sin City. He had Children of Men. And he had a film called Closer. Has anyone seen Closer with Natalie Portman, Jude Law, Julia Roberts? I think it's 2005, 2004. Was a stage play initially. Jude Law, no, not Jude Law. Clive Owen played the Jude Law's character on the stage play, and then in the film he played another character. Amazing film. But anyway, you're asking about Children of Men, which is also an amazing film. For me, the least favorites, Only God Forgives. Only God Forgives is fucking trash. In fact, thank you for that. Yeah, Only God Forgives is absolute trash, and Spring Breakers is absolute trash as well. There's a thing where blokes named Marcus are destined to have similar paths, mate. I've done pretty much everything you did listed. I think Vitavan, I think that's definitely the case for sure. I think it's our stupid arrogance which makes us think we can do anything. I think that's what it is. It's stupid arrogance. Okay, so the poll is looking like 70s with 56%. I mean, 70s are going to win, aren't they? 90s with 22 and 2000s, even though I've put 2000s with 22 as well. So yeah. Shoot 'em up. Of course, Clive Owen, that is absolute best. Closer is fan-bloody-tastic. Dialogue in that film is amazing. His scene with Julia Roberts is just, why don't you fuck off and die? Why don't you fuck off and die then? That's not the line. I butchered that. But there's an amazing line. There's an amazing line where he's asking Julia Roberts, did she enjoy cheating on him? And he goes into specifics about what she did. And she goes, yeah, I loved it. He's better than you, blah, 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 blah. And his line, which ends that scene, is just amazing. Amazing. Dal, I thought you were leaving ages ago. You're still here. You might as well stick around. We're going to be gone pretty soon anyway. Clive Owen was in that odd thriller with Jennifer Anderson. I didn't like it. Oh, yeah, it's a train one, isn't it? Happens on the London tubes. Not seen that one, thank God. Clive Owen should have been the next James Bond, but like 20 years ago, not now. He looks very old now to be James Bond anyway. Looks good for his age, but yeah. Anyway, got some questions here from before. Would you rather not be able to see films anymore or hear films anymore? I'd rather be able to see films. That's it. I'd rather be able to see films because I can read the subtitles, but if you can't see the film, then there's no point in watching film. Nolan's made more films than his films are nearly perfect. So we were talking about, Sagnik was asking me about Denis Villeneuve and Nolan. Nolan's better just based on the fact that is again, yeah, I think Godzilla said it. It's just there's more longevity right now. So Nolan's better. I don't think I always try and put the director's best films against each other. So I would say Denis' best film is On Sundays and maybe Prisoners. And then I would go Inception and Memento. And for me, it's close. Between Memento and Sundays, it's close. I think those are their two best films. It's very close. I would say On Sundays maybe just takes it by just by a little bit. Just by a little bit. It's neck and neck for me, though. A bit like the poll, which is still 56 for 70s, 22 for 90s, and 22 for 2000s. So if anyone wants to jump in and vote for those last bits of votes before we end the stream, that would be quite tremendous. I would appreciate that. So Godzilla, I've not seen a Serbian film, unfortunately, and I don't know the name of any Serbian film. So if you know any, let me know. I might watch them. Mark is going to bring up an article. So Vitafine, I'm going to do that last. And Pascal, I've left this here so that I can remember it next time. But if you're on the stream next time, please remind me and we'll talk about it next time. Right, so I'm going to bring up this article that Vitaphone wants me to bring up. I think Sony acquires... Is it Alamo? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Right, let me get that up on screen. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's pretty cool. I can just get it up on screen like that. I didn't know I had to. Wow. Amazing. I've learned something new on the stream. So cool. You just type it in, it comes up. Wow. Technology, eh? So, guys, we are always having this debate. Me, Vitaphone, Jay, anyone in the chat, we're always having this debate. Retita asks, great question. I'm going to star that, come back to it. Kenny, thank you for being on. And we are going to be leaving soon, but let's talk about this as the last thing. Right. So, we always have this debate. Me, Vitaphone, Jay, we talk about how we can save cinema. And on the last stream, no, the stream before last, or maybe the one before, no, last Saturday, I think it was, whenever it was, I got on Jay, I got on Vitaphone, Cohen came on as well, and we all had a chat about how to save cinema. And Vitaphone's idea was to have companies like Amazon and Apple purchase cinemas, because then I forgot what the reasoning was, but the idea, I guess, is to put the incentive in the hands of the studios in terms of how the cinemas create their film schedules. But also, if you don't know, when the studio puts a film into the cinema, they only get a certain portion of the take home. So I think it's like 40% they get. So if a film makes 100 million, they only get 40 million of that, for example. So Vitaphone's idea was, if the studios purchase the cinemas, which was illegal up until a few years ago, then they can take all the profit. They can also put their own films into the cinemas, and they can control how long the films are at the cinemas. And then recently, this week, Sony Pictures, who released Bad Boys and the Garfield movie, purchased the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema chain. I think there's 35 of them, as we're looking here, 35. And you can't see that, can you guys? There we go. 35 in America. And I guess they're now going to show their own films and maybe show other people's films as well, which will mean they'll take home 100% profit and other wonderful things as well. It's the first time this has happened. Alamo, I don't know anything about because they're only based in America. I've never heard of them. I actually heard of them before this, but not really. They're not really a big chain. But it's a bit of a seminal moment in film history, because if studios start buying cinemas, then I don't think it saves cinemas. I just don't believe this is I think it's going to change things in a way, and if you don't put good films in the cinema, no one's going to go and watch the films. So that's my personal opinion. But Vitaphone knows finances very well, and this was his idea. And it certainly wasn't exactly his idea. Like, I think you wanted something like Amazon. It was, the problem was the streaming services. That was the problem. So Sony are not really a streaming service, whereas Apple and Amazon, it'd be better if they bought these cinemas than Sony, for example. But it's a step in the right direction. It may force other studios to buy other cinema chains. But until they put good films in the cinema, bums won't go on seats. That's the only issue. So that won't change. The only thing that will change, they'll now make more money when they release a film. But that's not really it's going to save them, but it doesn't save cinema, if that makes sense. I'm still going to get bad films. So it has not really changed that situation. Now, if we can get Hooters Bar and grow to purchase AMC Theatre. I mean, why stop there? Why not get the red light district in the cinema as well? That's even better. What's your favorite streaming service? Amazon, because you can literally watch any film you want. You just type it in, you pay for it, you watch it. You can't do that on Netflix or any other streaming service. The chat had tremendous ideas. A lot of you, yeah, it was brilliant. What do you think of the most disturbing movie? I'll come back to that in a bit. My pitch was large content makers to snap up exhibitors. Okay. But I think it would be better if, you know more than me, based on this, but I think it would be better. You said Amazon and Apple. Well, you said Amazon, I think, primarily. I agree with the Amazon and Apple thing because they are the biggest streaming services along with Netflix. The problem is still Amazon and Apple and Netflix are still going to stream their films first on streaming services. So it doesn't really solve the problem right now. But if those people start buying cinema chains, that will definitely change things. Right. So guys, the poll, we're going to kind of wrap up now, but the poll is still the same. No one's voted any extra. And there's quite a few of you in here. So I would suggest you vote. But anyway, 70s is winning. And we have a tie between the 90s and the 2000s. So please vote for the 90s or 2000s so that we can have a first, second, and third. That would be amazing if you could do that. Right. Pascal, Marcus, one question. Yep, we've done that already. Recitas, Oppenheimer or Dune? I would say Oppenheimer. So I prefer Dune. I prefer Dune to Oppenheimer. I don't prefer Dune 2. I prefer Dune though. And the last one is, what do you think? What do you think is the best disturbing movie? Ooh, what do you mean by that, Godzilla? What do you mean by disturbing movie? Need a bit of context. Vitaphone, I totally agree. I think this will start a chain reaction, and I think other studios will jump in. But still, if Netflix don't jump in, there's still going to be a huge problem because everyone considers or associates streaming with Netflix. And if Netflix don't play ball and they keep streaming and they keep purchasing films and putting it straight onto streaming, then there's going to be a problem. And also the other problem is the quality of the films. Because I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go to Alamo Theater. I don't live in America, firstly. But even if I did, I still wouldn't go to Alamo Theater just because Sony now are going to put the films in there. I still need to have good films to go and watch. So I think it's definitely leading us on a path towards somewhere. But until better films happen, that is going to be tricky. But I understand what's happening here. Okay, Pascal, see you soon. We're all going to go pretty soon. Best disturbing movies is Barbie. And Funny Games is very disturbing. The original is very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. Issue with Dune films is they completely missed the point of the book in order to dumb down the ideas. Dan, I wish I'd read the books, but I've heard they're boring and I don't really like reading books. So unfortunately, I can't comment on that, but I've heard people say the same thing. And Pink Flamingos. What's your favorite film of the decade so far? 2000s? Ooh, it's been a rough 4 years. I don't actually know. Let me Google best films of the 20. It's been rough. It's been very, very rough. Maybe another round? 2020? Maybe. Let me see. And guys, if you've not hit the like button, please do. That would be absolutely tremendous. I would love that so very much. Right. So The Father was a good film. Promising Young Woman was a good film. Anatomy of a Fall was a great film. And Spider-Man was okay. It's not been great. It's not been great. I'd say Another Round, maybe. It's probably the best film I've seen. All right, cool. So I think NL definitely is in the Netherlands because he has very strong opinions. And they do in the Netherlands. So you guys have voted. Thank you very much. But we still have a tie between the 90s and the 2000s. We need a definitive second place winner. So if you're watching this and you can just vote for either 90s or the 2000s, that would be tremendous, please. Andrew Steinberg. Nice to meet you, Andrew. I think it's the first time you've been on. My favorite 17th movie is The Godfather Part 2, closely followed by The Godfather Part 1. But then there's so many other great films. There's things like The Dare Hunter, Dog Day Afternoon, Network, Apocalypse Now, and there's other films like Strain. There's a Dustin Hoffman movie that I forgot the name of, but he plays a criminal, which is Straight Time, which is really good as well. There's so many great films. I'm just touching the bottom of the barrel here. Like there's Deliverance. There's The Conversation. There's Mean Streets. There's Taxi Driver. There's so many of them. 90s over 2000s. Get on that vote. Get on the vote, guys. Okay, so someone's voted for 2000s. Thank you very much. So far, it's 70s, 2000s, and 90s. Great stream, by the way, guys. You guys have been amazing. I thought I saw that fellow Dutchman. He's not. Where are you from, NL? It's in my initials. Where are you from? The poll is up, by the way, NL. Network is fantastic, Vitaphone. Totally agree with you. And I think we're okay for the poll, even though there's only 20 votes. I think we're okay with that. I think we're first, second, and third, so I think we're good with that. Right. Has anyone got any lasting questions before we wrap this up? I think it's pretty definitive the 70s are going to win here. Has anyone got any lasting questions? And if you do, smash them in the chat. I did say I would get some of you on to talk about this, but I'm not. I'm not, because we've done 2 hours and 40. And I'd like to, at some point, get some sleep. But guys, one thing I will say is on NL, you're from America. What part are you from? What part are you from? Let us know. Part 2 is better than part 1, has more story. I did think that, I did think that Godzilla. And then I've watched them again recently. And it's so close. Honestly, it's so close. Even though part 2 is more expansive, because part 1 is less expansive, it works just as well. It's a weird one. It's so close. But guys, this will probably... What's your favorite shot from the Tree of Life by Malik? I haven't seen it. I started watching it once and I stopped it because it was just... I watched it with an ex-girlfriend. She was like, this is boring. And I couldn't really disagree with her because it kind of was. So I just turned it off. So I haven't seen it. And I'm not a huge Terrence Malick fan. I do like The Thin Red Line, but the rest of his films don't really resonate with me. Yeah, thank you very much, White Noise. Thank you very much, everyone. This has been fantastic. Most important question, is that a comfy shirt? Yeah, I mean, it is. It's really nice and really comfy. I always wear it because I've got a black shirt, but I find that the black doesn't really bring me out. And that's not a racial comment. I'm just saying it's just kind of, it's like these different contrasts of colors on camera. So yeah, I do like this white shirt. I might change it up next time and go gray. So yeah, guys, one thing I will say is that on the other day in my community page, I put a question on the community page and it was, who are the most overrated actors? That was the question. You guys came back with so many answers. There's maybe like 60, 70 answers. It was amazing. I was like, whoa, this is incredible. So we're going to do a stream on that on Tuesday. I did try and think of doing it today, but I thought this one was going to be quite long, and it has been quite long. So we'll do it on Tuesday. We'll do the most overrated actors. There's so many of them. I'm going to have to whittle them down. I can't do them all, and we'll be there forever. And if you guys want to come on, and I will have a link, you will be able to come on Tuesday, I promise. And if you want to talk about your your most overrated actors, that is absolutely fine. Third Man is... I didn't enjoy Third Man at all. Drive My Car, I've not seen it. And look at this. Dutch people talking. Dow, you're still here. I thought you were leaving. Guess you're not. Talk about the 40s and the noir movies next. So I can talk about it now. The noir movies are an extension of the German expressionism of the 20s and 30s. What happened was during the First War, maybe Second War. No, First War and the Second War. Oh, I need to get this right. I think it's the First War. But anyway, what happened was in German film, early German film, they used loads of shadows and loads of deep, harsh shadows, which slowly trickled into American cinema because loads of European, especially German, director of photographies and cinematographers and directors came to America, and they started using the same techniques in the film noir films. Like, I'm trying to think of one. Maybe someone can help me out with a film noir film from the 40s and 30s and 50s. But they started using the same techniques as they did in the German films. And if you watch some of those films, they are beautiful. You can even watch things like Citizen Kane, where those shadows are used maybe to the best I've ever seen. The shadowing is fantastic. But then you've also got the idea of the femme fatale and, you know, the hard-nosed detective who doesn't care about anything. Humphrey Bogart type character. So film noir was my favorite genre, but I don't think anyone's really nailed it. I think Blade Runner did it really well, the original Blade Runner. And that's kind of my problem with the second Blade Runner film, is that it's not a film noir, whereas Blade Runner 1 is definitely a film noir, and Blade Runner 2 is just an action movie, almost a long, sometimes boring action movie where Ryan Gosling's acting like a potato for 2 hours and a half. And it felt like, to me, because we knew that he was well, for me anyway, because I knew that he was a robot, like that was not going to change. It just felt like I couldn't connect with the character. And any film where the robot is a protagonist, I can't connect with that film. Connor says, I like Western and Shane. I think you're talking about the John Wayne movie. Shane, John Wayne? I don't know. Don't really watch John Wayne. Private Ryan. Is that in relation to something else? Maybe something I asked. I don't know. Right. Cool. Just waiting for the end. I need to watch. I love that you find it so riveting, Dal. Grave of Fly. I need to watch that Grave of Fireflies. It's on my list. Right, guys. I think that's it for tonight. Oh, no, Ben. You've jumped on. You've jumped on last minute. We're just about to jump off. What I should say, what would you say to watch tonight if I'm bored? Someone's mentioned this film before. There's two films you should maybe watch. One film would be, I think Children of Men, if you've not seen it, would be a nice film for tonight. And then Rasitas mentioned the film before, a Western film that I forgot the name of. But you could watch that as well. If you scroll up, you might find it. Suggest me a good underrated thriller to watch after the stream. Oh, God. You guys are coming with some questions now. My brain's fried from 3 hours of talking. Hard Shadows are fun. My first film was the film noir. The technique is largely lost in this soft light. Come on, yeah. I mean, some of these films are fucking awful. The lighting. Some of these films that I see people praising, like I saw people praising how the Acolyte looks. It looks like shit. It looks like absolute toilet water. And most films today get a pass for how they look, even though they look like fucking toilet. Honestly, they're absolutely awful. They're overlit. They've got the Netflix glow. Like, we're in a really bad age, guys, for everything, for sound, for cinematography, for acting. Like, who's the next big actor apart from Timothée Chalamet? Who's the next big actor? I can't think of anyone. Can you? Who's the next big director? Who's the next big writer? Like, you can now make one film, and suddenly you're the god. Like Jordan Peele. Honestly speaking, what has he done? Nope. Not for me. What's the film before that? Us. Not good. Get Out. Okay. And now he's like, oh, incredible director. Same with Barbie director. One film. She's the best director in Hollywood. Is she? Because she's not. Gone Girl is great. Bruv, the entire industry has lost the ability to light scenes properly. Totally. Oh, yeah. Why does he hate the Acolyte so much? So, Gagnan, the reason I hate... So, understand this. After watching... what was it? What was the last one? With Rosario Dawson. Don't remember the name. After watching that, So I grew up with Star Wars being everything. I loved Star Wars. It was magical. Like hearing the lightsaber go off for the first time. Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Han Solo, just everything about Star Wars was my life when I was young, like up until like 14, maybe 13. And then I watched The Phantom Menace and I was like, okay, maybe there's a mishap here, but it's fine. The next one's going to be okay. And I watched the second one, which is Attack of the Clones, is it? And I was like, there's a problem here. These films are terrible. And I watched the third one, which is Revenge of the Sith, whatever the fuck it's called. Whatever it's called. And I was like, okay, yeah, we have this stuff's broken nearly. So I was like, I don't want to see any more Star Wars now. And then Disney bought it back, and I liked The Force Awakens. I did. I liked it. I'm not going to apologize for it. I liked it. I didn't like the ending where we had a bit of a very, very, very overpowered protagonist, but I enjoyed it. And then The Last Jedi came out, and I was like, this is terrible, but J.J. Abraham might be able to save it. He didn't. He made it worse. And then we had the TV series and had Mandalorian. I was like, I felt good again. I felt like The Mandalorian was going to bring us back. I felt like we were coming back to a great place. And then I've seen the rest of the TV shows like Obi-Wan and so forth. I'm like, this is just fucking shit. So with The Acolyte, I'm hoping it crashes and burns. I'm hoping it destroys Star Wars. That's what I want. I want it to destroy Star Wars. It's like, you know, it's a really bad analogy, but you know, when you're, no, I'm going to use a different analogy. But say you're in a relationship with someone and it's not going very well and you really want to get out of it, but you're just a bit of a pussy and you want her to break up with you or him to break up with you. So you just kind of stop acting nice so that they break up with you. That's what I want. I want this thing to crash and burn. So Gagnan, that's why I hate it so much. I've not seen it. I'm not going to watch it, but I've seen some clips and it looks like toilet water. Right. I think I'm going to leave it there, even though you guys are absolutely spectacular. We now have 23 votes, and 70s have won, 90s have come second, and the 2000s have come third. 80s came nowhere, so you guys lost. Just going to say that now. You guys have been tremendous. In honor of how wonderful you guys are, I've got a bunch of pictures here of 70s movies for you guys to enjoy. There you go. Right, guys. This has been absolutely epic. Thank you so very much. Oh, did he? I didn't know that, Stagnick. I'm going to watch it tomorrow, so I'll let you know how I thought it was. Yeah, so I thought Vitaphone was a sound guy as well. I thought he was a sound guy as well. Yeah, so you guys, everyone's section 214, Lighting the Crowd, but used to be reserved for comedy. Love this stuff. Maybe we'll talk about this next time. Love this stuff. Andrew, thank you for coming in. Really appreciate you coming in. Again, pause on that. Dow, thankfully, you can now leave. Next stream is going to be on Tuesday, 7:45. I'll get a post up maybe tomorrow. I've got a video coming out tomorrow as well. I think there's a bunch of actors. Whose films you should never, ever watch because they keep on making terrible films. So I've got a video coming out tomorrow, I think at 9:30 p.m. UK time. Please watch it and share it and whatever you need to do with it. And it's basically discussing the actors I think you should never watch their films. They always make bad films. So please give a little watch to that and a little like to it. That would be most magnificent. And yeah, guys, this has been tremendous. You guys are still talking away. I'm loving this. Loving this chat about cinematography as well. You guys are just undefeated. Honestly, I just want to do this for you guys. I want to do two things for you guys. I want to do this.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Okay, so I'll give you my opinion about an actor who won an Oscar playing drunkards. They were all bad. Not Nicolas Cage. He was good. Right. Guys, this has been absolutely bloody fantastic. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, 7:45. And we will talk about so many wonderful things. Ashley Animate Stuff, good to see you in here as well. Guys, honestly, this has been great. You've been fantastic. As I said before, hit the like button, please. Let's help the stream, help the channel, help everything. In fact, you guys, I keep going on and on, but sorry. But you guys, because you keep coming onto the stream, because you keep liking the videos I'm making, because you keep liking the stream as well, the channel is just growing so fast. In the past week, it's grown crazily fast. Like every time I have a look, like it's gone up by like 200, 300, like on a day sometimes. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And people are checking out the old videos, checking out the streams, checking out the community posts. It's wonderful to see. 37 likes is also fan-bloody-tastic as well. You guys are fantastic. Gagnan, thank you for coming on. Kerwin, thank you for coming on. I can't go through all the names. Jay, as always, as a mod, thank you so much. Please subscribe to Jay. Please subscribe to 1.5 in a week. Fucking hell. Is that true? I don't even look at these figures, but that's amazing. If it's gone up by 1.5 in a week, that is incredible. Vitaphone, subscribe to Vitaphone. Gagnan, who always helps out with like taking notes and stuff. Subscribe to Gagnan. He's got some amazing videos where he talks about some of these crazy films that he watches. Subscribe to him as well. Sagnik, you're always here. Thank you so much. Liam, I think this is your first time. Thank you for coming in. Ashley, big love. And anyone else, Rasitas, Ben, everyone, all of you. You're all fucking amazing. Keep doing your thing. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. And, well, big love.